Bubbles of info. Bubbles of fun. Bubbles of music. Ever wonder why these people do the Macarena? Or who styles Tina's hair? Well, find out on VH1's Pop-Up Video. Fun-filled facts packed into your favorite videos. Only on VH1. Pop-Up Video. Pop-Up Video.
Understanding him is hard. Controlling him...
Promise me you'll stay right here?
...may be impossible. From the director of Wayne's World, Chris Farley, David Spade.
So what do you want to do today?
No! Black Sheep.
Promise me you'll stay in the car.
Free minutes was good.
5 free minutes was great.
But 10 minutes free with my psychic is even better. My psychic told me not to worry. So I went back to school and now I've got a great job. Now that's a true friend.
Talking about true friends, 10 minutes free is where it's at.
Now that's for me.
She knew that my boyfriend Donald was scared of commitment. But the advice she gave me turned the tables. And now he's begging me for attention.
Get 10 minutes free. Call 1-900-454-1143.
you asked for it, you got it. All new episodes of your favorite TV show. VH1's 8-track flashback. More classic hits from the 70s, sung by the original stars.
He rocks in the treetop all day long. Bad, Leroy Brown.
VH1's 8-track flashback. It's a TV show. Only available on VH1.
Welcome to WrestleMania 3. It's bigger. It's better. It's badder. Batter? What's batter? Like the shit you used to make pancakes? I don't know, but we're here to watch it one way or the other. Finally, WrestleMania 3. After all these years, we are finally doing a watch-along of arguably the biggest pay-per-view and the biggest match in the history of not only WWE, but professional wrestling in the same town that I was born in. Right down the road, a little good mic work slid out of his mama at Pontiac General Hospital. 9 years later, went with a friend to watch this epic moment at the Silverdome. Sat way up in the nosebleeds, don't remember shit about it, didn't take any pictures, but I was there and I witnessed one of the greatest moments in the history of wrestling, or arguably the greatest moment, and a couple of the best matches in history as well, as Savage and Steamboat is on this show also. So here we are watching a WrestleMania that is now 36 years old. I am old. I am 45. And man, this was a big one. So we're going to talk about it. We're going to hang out. We're going to relive history from way back in the day. Many of you weren't even born when this show happened or took place, but a lot of you know about it. Even the youngest fans, I think, are aware of the match between Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant. It's kind of hard not to be aware of that. So we're here to kick back on this nice Sunday afternoon and watch WrestleMania 3. Hopefully you guys are having a great day and a great weekend. This is a 3-hour and 5-minute long pay-per-view, according to Peacock, so we're not going to waste too much time here getting started because it is Sunday night. Some of you may have to work tomorrow, and I don't want to keep you up all night long. So we'll get to it here in just a second, but I want to do some shout-outs and all that good stuff first. Excuse me. And say hello to all the channel members that are hanging out in here. Let's start with Mike. Good to see Zach Palgett, who you love the scroll. I got to change the scroll up. I planned on having a new one today, but I've been working on a lot of channel stuff this week, so I didn't get around to it. But the scroll is either going to change or go away, Zach. I'm not really sure yet, but we are going to revamp a little bit the watch-alongs here in the next couple of weeks. Good to see you, though. We have Zane G. We got Michael Kumo. We got the Juliet. We got Ian Dunn. We have JJ Legg. John J.E. Dennett. Who else? Juliet, I think I got you already. That rounds out the channel members. And George Morris is here. Another channel member dropping in $5. Thanks for that, dude. Hey, Greg, how are you doing? And how is Tito? WrestleMania 3, 10 out of 10. Best WrestleMania ever. What do you think of Hulk Hogan's lying, and will he stop? I don't think he will ever stop, brother. I don't think he'll ever stop lying. It's written in his damn DNA. You know what I mean? But this is probably the best WrestleMania ever. It's my favorite WrestleMania ever just because of the magnitude of it. And you have to understand and appreciate how this felt to a kid. And I'll talk about that as we get into things later on. And I talked a little bit about Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant recently. I forgot what I was talking about, but I got kind of in depth into Andre and how they made you believe what an unstoppable opponent he is, even though he had kind of lost matches before, but WWE rewrote history and made you believe it, man, and it was great. I can't remember what I was talking about that when I discussed it, but it was recently. Tito is great. He is sleeping right back there on the couch. You can see that little checkered Cactus Jack-looking blanket. He is underneath that. I lay that over top of the couch, and it builds like a little tent for him, and he goes in. It's his little fort. He hangs out in there. Most nights when I'm streaming, either that or right under my feet here in the desk, but Tito is fantastic. Thanks for asking. As always, I want to knock out another one coming in from Michael. Thanks, dude. Michael Kumo, $5. Appreciate that. I have this on VHS. WrestleMania 3 ends on an Aretha Franklin song. I'm sure it won't be on the Peacock. No, it will not. I also have this show on VHS right here. And as a matter of fact, not only do I have this VHS tape, I have 6, count them, more copies. I have 7 copies of WrestleMania 3 in total. The other 6 are right there on that shelf. I have 3 copies of WrestleMania 2 in this big clamshell box. I have 2 copies of WrestleMania 1, and I have 7 copies of WrestleMania 3. My goal was to get to 20 of these. I just want to collect 20, and then I kind of stopped picking them up, but I need to search on eBay, see if I can get a few more, and at least get this collection up to 10, because I'm a mark for this particular VHS case. It's iconic, and you see it right here on the overlay as well. It was a big old night in the business. Let me shout out everybody else. Ed Brewer, Ray Frand, We Are Pro Wrestling is in the house. I don't know if we're going to need you for stats for this one, but we might. I'm pretty knowledgeable about 1987, and I have some more good news for you, my friend. Check over on my page. I added you to the People Almost as Cool as Me tab. So your channel now is featured over on my channel, along with some of my other friends in the biz or on the YouTubes. And yeah, congrats. Just thought I'd let you know that. We Are Pro Wrestling. Also good to see Crazy J, Big J. William Cullen is in the house. David Brown, I think I got you. Ben Espinoza is here as well. Andy Linnell in the house. Ray Frand is here. Wilbur Reed, good to see you. Gregory Ulysses, good to see you from Montreal, right? I think you talked to me the other day on the Twitters. Good to see you in here too, my friend. Hingle McCringleberry. What's going on? I'm watching every WrestleMania in a row. Got through 8. Nice. Yeah, Nate, you're here as well. Not even born for WrestleMania 3. Good to see Naveed in the house as well. We have MC. We got Xander. Right on. That is probably it for the shout-outs, at least for right now. And we will get going on the WrestleMania 3 watch-along here. Let me do a refresh on this page because it is not showing my audience. It says 4 people are here. I think we got a little bit more than that. That's better. Okay. All right, rock on. So yeah, you guys know the drill here. We watch all of these watch-alongs on the Peacock, and once you get your Peacock pulled up, you want to get all your zeros across the board there, and we are going to all hit play together in just a couple of minutes. Once we do, the timer right above my head will continue to run, or will begin to run, and just follow along with the timer no matter what happens with us, with you. If you pause, if you lose connection, whatever, the timer will always keep running, and we will just sync up the timer to your Peacock, and we can all watch along with no issues. Again, watch any, don't skip the intro, watch any ads you need to watch, and get ready just to hit play. And according to Peacock, the runtime exactly on the show is 3 hours, 5 minutes, and 10 seconds. So that is what we're looking at here. Nice 3-hour pay-per-view. When we did WrestleMania 4 a couple of weeks ago, that show, that watch-along, incidentally, has gotten over 10,000 views. Very cool. That show was 3.5 hours long, so this one is only 3, so it should be a relatively easy watch, and I have lots of memories of that. I am also starting to take all of these recordings and starting to edit them with the actual wrestling footage and putting those up on Patreon. The first one is up already. The Royal Rumble 1991 match is on there. This idea was supposed to be used over on the other channel, Bald Guy Wrestling, but I can't get YouTube. YouTube blocks every one of these that I try to do. Even if I blur the footage, it still gets blocked. So we're going to put this content on Patreon, available to all tiers. So all you got to do is pledge $1 a month, and you can access this stuff. I didn't really want to charge for it. It was just Patreon's really the only alternative to get these videos out. So we're going to offer that to all patrons, but you can pledge the very, very bare minimum. $1 a month will allow you access to all of these edited live reactions, or edited reactions, excuse me, that I'm going to be putting up on Patreon weekly. So there'll be some content, a steady flow in there on Patreon. An official announcement on all this stuff is coming, but content is going to start hitting the Patreon account right away. So if you guys are already on there and support on Patreon, great. If not, you want to go over there and join for $1 a month, you can see a couple of days after we do a watch along here, this video will be posted over there along with the actual footage, and I'll edit it down to make it a little bit easier to watch. So that's what we're doing over on the Patreon page, along with the merchandise store. Did you guys notice all them t-shirts up on the channel and stuff? Go over to the channel. You'll see it in the store tab there. Lots of merch. Finally set up a merch store. Shirts, hoodies, hats, stickers, buttons, magnets, teddy bears, all that kind of stuff is on the store now, and we talked a little bit about that yesterday. So just wanted to throw that out there before we get started. Titanium Titan, good to see you as well. Welcome. Hassan Terrell, I'm not sure if I got you either. Everybody, welcome. Thank you for being here. We are exactly a quarter past the hour, which sounds like a really good spot to start WrestleMania 3. So hopefully your Peacock has been pulled up. You want to go to WrestleMania Season 3, Episode 1. Like I said, 3 hours, 5 minutes, and 10 seconds is the runtime on this. And we will do a countdown from 3 in just a second, and we will all hit play together. I just have to get my finger on the trigger. This will be the last watch-along I do with this machine. My big mega computer that I dropped a pretty penny on arrives, I believe, on Wednesday. So I'll be setting all that up this week, and hopefully by next weekend, we are streaming some good stuff. By the way, I guess we're not going to be here for I didn't even think about that. We're not going to be here for WrestleMania next weekend because that's Revolution. So we won't be doing a live reaction next Sunday or a live watch-along next Sunday. We'll be reviewing Revolution instead, but we'll try to squeeze in a Mania somewhere in there in place of it if we can. Anyway, I'll shut up now. Let's get to this show and hit play here. Let me just get my finger ready. Of course, I'm having trouble now. Come on. There we go. Sorry. Just trying to get everything dialed in. All right, I should be ready to rock on my end. Hopefully you guys are as well. And we'll do a countdown from 3 and hit play. You ready? Here we go. 3, 2, 1, play. Okay. We're good. And here comes Vince McMahon loved the saxophone. I don't know what it is about the 1980s. By the way, don't skip that intro if it's asking you to. They love the saxophone intros. Even some of the wrestlers had saxophone-heavy wrestling themes. Okay, so you see this big opening shot, this panning shot. You see the entrance. So basically, I'm exactly diagonal across on the upper deck from where that big shot is. So basically, I'm looking down at the entrance. Like the entrance is below me, but I'm a little bit off to the right. That's basically my seats. Like I don't even remember really how far up I was, probably halfway. But oh my God, what a sight that is. And this happened like in the afternoon too. Back in these days, WrestleMania started a lot earlier. So, the Silverdome had that big white roof. So this show would go from this great visual of this sea of people to pitch black, like Madison Square Garden dark within the course of the night. And it was really crazy. It feels like there's 2 WrestleManias. There's the light time, WrestleMania 3, and then there's the matches that took place in the dark. And this is one of my favorite visuals in WrestleMania history of Aretha Franklin doing the America the Beautiful. Like, it's very cool. And they brought her back, right, for WrestleMania 23? Like, Ray Charles the year before was pretty cool also. That was a cool visual, but he didn't have the benefit of having this, like, sea of people. I mean, the Silverdome was a big, big place. I remember my grandpa, my grandparents were like really Catholic, heavily Catholic, and he went to the Silverdome to see the Pope. They made a big deal about it. And there was like 120,000 people there to see the fucking Pope. Crazy. And as a kid, I went to 2 Lions games in the Silverdome as well. So I think I've had 3 Silverdome experiences in total as a kid. America. Yeah, there's been a lot of talk, too, about the attendance not being 93,000. It felt like 93,000 to me. I know WWE does embellish, but there wasn't a ton of empty seats even at the top. I think WrestleMania 8 looked a lot less full than WrestleMania 3. But to me, again, my memory is super hazy because I have no pictures of any of this. I was just a little piece of shit. But it looked full as fuck to me, and it didn't look like there was much room to be moving around in the Silverdome. So the 93,000 number seemed legit to me, but if WWE added 10,000 to it, maybe they did. I don't know. But the crowd was ridiculous. No, Barry Sanders, I'm pretty sure, Michael, Barry was not even drafted yet. I think both of my Silverdome experiences came before this. So, because I moved to North Carolina just 6 months after WrestleMania 3. I was gone from Michigan. So, I was in North Carolina, I think, by October. So, my previous Lions games were before this, and that was before Barry Sanders' time. I don't remember when Barry came in. I want to say 89 maybe, something like that. So cool. We'll see how much is going to be edited out of this version compared to the Coliseum. MC, the building itself said around 73,000 or sat. Now, you got to remember, 73,000 is with a football game. The ring is this big, so you can add a lot more people on the floor than you can for a football game. So I don't think Pontiac Silverdome ever came out and said 73,000. I think that might have been a typo, but I kind of see what you're saying. That's why the number of 80-ish thousand seems a little bit more realistic than 93. But they put 100,000 people in there already before for, I think it was the Pope. And I think the Rolling Stones might have held a concert there that drew something insane. But at the time, the Silverdome was a big deal. Like, it was a big modern stadium. The thing went to hell. I mean, it was a piece of shit when it finally closed and they opened up Ford Field, and it just sat there abandoned. They tried to demolish it, and then they screwed that up, and like it was just this big lot that the Silverdome sat there for years before they finally cleared it out of there. That's cool. Look at this crew. We got Gino Monsoon, Bob Uecker, Mary Hart. What is she wearing? And Jesse the Body Ventura. I remember Mary Hart and John Tesh, I think, from Entertainment Tonight as a kid. Sea of Humanity. Somebody explained to me at the last WrestleMania watch-along we did a couple weeks ago, WrestleMania 4, that I never knew that Matilda, I can't believe I never knew this, Matilda was Jesse Ventura's dog. That makes a lot of sense because on this show, you're going to see Jesse, if they show it on the Peacock version, but you see Jesse on the cart. He leaves during the Bulldogs Hearts match and goes down there. And then he's like carrying the dog back, and the cart is wheeling him backwards down the aisle. And I'm like, what the hell is he doing with Matilda? Why did they put Jesse on Matilda duty? Never even occurred to me that it was probably his dog. Like, look at the Can-Ams, one of my favorite tag teams from this time. See how the ring is raised up a little bit too? WrestleMania 6, they had to do that. They had to do the same thing. Now, I remember watching this on TV leading up to this match. Ace Orton and Morocco were having problems. Mike, as far as I knew, Zink just got an offer from WCW and went there. They paid him. They thought he was going to be a big star. They pushed him like one. Went there to be the Z-Man. Turned out to be a blessing because as a kid, I thought the Can-Ams were a great tag team. I liked them a lot. But when you replace somebody like Zink with somebody like Tito, that's a whole different tag team now. And Strike Force was way more formidable. But had Zink not left, I kind of feel like WWE might have belted up the Can-Ams. Like they had a look to them. Like as a kid, I found them appealing. They had some ridiculous vignettes, man. Go look up those Can-Am Connection vignettes where they're like got their shirts off and they've got the mirrors and they're combing their hair. It's bad. It's like so bad it's good. And Ricky Martel here is 2 years removed from a AWA championship run. He's already had a run with the tag team titles in the WWE as well with Gurria. Morocco and Martel was a fun match. The devious one, Mr. Fuji. Demolition had just come in yet. I don't even think Fuji was managing Demolition yet. I think they were with Luscious Johnny. So Fuji didn't have the face paint yet or none of that. Nice hip toss. The amount of people here just blows my mind. I mean, Jesus Christ, man. I was like, what, 4th grade or something? Jesus. See, look at Morocco here. We watched, he looks out of shape. We watched WrestleMania 4 last time, and he was just chiseled. He looked so good. He had the match with Dino, and then he had a match with DiBiase after that, and he looked good in both. Morocco's a little out of shape. There's Joey Morella, who would be, he'd referee the opening and the main event. And the Hogan-Andre match attached a lot of controversy to Joey Morella's name. Yeah, Demolition with Johnny, with Luscious Johnny was weird. But the early days of Demolition, they were having one of the Moondogs was playing Smash until they brought in Barry Darso. Their outfits looked a little different. They had these big, like, furry boots, and they didn't look like a Fuji team quite yet. But Fuji was clearly the better fit for them, and once they realized that. It's so funny up on the top of the Silverdome, you see nothing but cigarette and beer advertisement billboards. That's the way it was back then. Oh, and there's some miscue with Morocco and Ace. They had already had problems on TV leading up to this. They were already kind of teasing a split between this relatively short-lived team. I mean, they just kind of teamed for a short time together, but... Yeah, Crush was way far away from joining Demolition at this point. Demolition had just come in, so this was Axe and Smash for the next 3 or 4 years here until the Crushster made his appearance. What's up, JJ Leg? Good to see Victor Colon in here as well. No, JJ, I did not see that Lil Nate is bald. I don't know how it's going to look on him. It's a risk doing that. I got lucky. I could have easily shaved my head, and I could have had a big-ass lump sticking out of the side, or I could have a triangle head, or my mom could have dropped me. But luckily, I have a good enough shaped head for bald heads. Not everybody does. My friend is losing, one of my good friends, he's losing his hair real bad, but he's got like a cantaloupe head. And he knows it. He goes, I can't shave my head. I'm like, why not? He goes, because I'll look ridiculous. And I'm like, you might not look that bad. He goes, no, I can't do it. I'm like, well, it might look better than a big-ass bald spot. But he won't do it because he's just like, I just don't think I've got the head for it. I look like a watermelon. Look at this overhead shot. I don't even remember seeing this on the original tape. Martel, a house of fire. I just want to see more. Look at Morocco take that bump at his weight. He was barely even able to get over on that slingshot move there, but he took that bump. MJ Parker, good to see you. Channel member. Love that icon next to your name. Love seeing that stuff. Excited to be watching this one, too. Took us a long time to get to WrestleMania 3. There goes Orton. Double team here. This was their finish here, I think. They kind of did this like... Oh, nope. That was not their finisher. That was good, though. That might not have been their finisher. Who did the finisher? It was a drop down. They ran over and they ran into a power slam. That might have been Young Stallions actually had that finisher. Can-Am's, I'm not even quite sure what the finisher was. I remember the day that Zink left. Martel cut a promo about it. He's like, my partner, he quit on me. He left me. And he goes, I need to find a new partner. So they didn't shy away from it. They said that Zink left. I just think it's funny how you have to, like, ride in the cart after you lose. They should make the loser walk. Doesn't it look like Howard's about to conduct a post-match interview with them? Jesse loves giving Joey Morella shit in front of Gorilla. It's like his favorite thing. What a rib. Oh, yeah, Gregory. I bet Martel was. I love Rick Martel. He's one of my favorite, one of the guys in the biz I just respected the most. You never heard anything bad about him. He quietly retired. Didn't have 9 podcasts and a Twitter account filled with nonsense and bitching and bitterness. Like, he's just a good dude. And he was a hell of a hand. Well-journeyed, well-traveled, well-experienced, multiple titles. This is another feud that sticks with me as a kid, like Billy Jack. Speaking of Portland. Ooh. I'll tell you what, I wouldn't mind seeing that in a shoot fight. Herc and Billy Jack. I would like to hope that Hercules would kick the shit out of him, but I don't know. Hercules was crazy, though. I think Hercules would win a shoot between those two. Here's Hercules. Billy Jerk Haynes. Now, Hercules was about a little less than a year into this look after coming in. God, love that. Billy Jerk Haynes. Look how fast that cart's moving. Quite the outfit on Billy Jack. I'll tell you what, he loved that hat. I mean, he wasn't in the company for very long. I don't remember when Billy Jack came in, but it was right around this time, and he got a WrestleMania match. I'm going to say late 86 is the first time I remember seeing him. His cousin, Brady Boone, also worked in WWE a little bit, worked as Battle Cat. Joe Brill, you were born the day of this show. Holy shit. I am a 70s baby. I was born right after Elvis died. Same week. I think I was born a week after he died. Week after or week before, I can't remember. What a busy, busy day for Bobby Heenan. And that's what's got to be crazy for him. I mean, he's going to be in that main event later, the biggest match in history. And I think even at this point, even before we got to Hogan and Andre, by the time you got to in the building, like I even think before WrestleMania, you just knew it was going to be the biggest match ever because they didn't have to do much. The match itself, physically, athletically, sucked. But it was the moment. It was just the epicness of it. And I think everybody knew it going in. Like, this is going to be a big deal. This kind of traumatized me. Couldn't see the blood from my seats, but seeing it after the fact on TV was a little crazy. And just seeing those people in the background, I mean, it's literally like a sea. I mean, one guy here halfway up has got binoculars, see him? And they're not even far away from the ring. It's one thing I'm worried about going to WrestleMania this year is I have very good seats. I'm on the first level, but really good seats on that level. Or maybe that middle level in between the first and upper, something like that. But, yeah, actually, I think that's where I am. There's like a little middle strip that goes between the middle and upper deck. I'm on that one, and I'm right on the 50-yard line, right looking straight down at the ring, but it's probably going to be far. 1932. It's another thing I always loved Gorilla and Jesse would do. Jesse would always give shit to Gorilla about his age. And Gorilla's not that much older than... Wow. The power and the physiques that were in wrestling in the 80s were so crazy. Get Bobby Lashley in this thing. Let's see how Lashley measures up against Billy Jack and Herc with his full Nelson. I personally believe Lashley would eat both of these guys for lunch, but Billy Jack has really got a lot of Oregon pride there, doesn't he? Got Oregon on his tights, Oregon on his boots. He's wearing Oregon colors. He's wearing Oregon Duck colors anyway. Oregon's a beautiful state, but Jesus. He's pro-Oregon. Pro-Oregon. Comments from WWE, kind of. I was kind of like, if the hard cam is looking at the ring, I'm way up in the upper deck, off to the right, way off camera. So I'm not visible at any time from hard cam, but that is technically the side that I'm on. I remember as a kid when they would say, like, softening them up, I thought, like, if you were in a fight, you really start getting softer. And, like, you just have to keep pounding on people to soften them to where they can't get up anymore. Like, kids think weird shit, you know. Got to soften them up. You don't want to be pinning hard, dudes. You need them guys as flaccid as possible. I remember a couple of, Gregory, I remember a couple of press conferences. The one that I remember, I always thought it just took place in Detroit, but maybe it was at the Ritz-Carlton. I think that probably the same one you're talking about. Hogan's got like the workout bar. Piper is there. Hogan says, "I used to look up to Andre," and Heenan goes, "That's because he's 7'4". Classic shit. Look at the abs on Hercules. No, they weren't really like ants. I mean, they were small, but they weren't that small. I remember, the funny thing is I remember much more about WrestleMania 15 because I was way up in the cheap seats for that too, and they felt like ants there. So this is a much bigger arena. So let's check this out. We got Dave Hebner as the referee right now. Earl is not there yet. Earl's working in the NWA right now. By the way, if you guys could keep smashing that thumbs up button, I'd appreciate it. Anybody who's not a subscriber, please do so. And would love the likes. And there goes Billy Jack. No, I thought he was tapping. Nope. He doesn't have those fingers locked. It's very important to keep those fingers locked. Fingers are not locked. Yeah, their fingers are way far apart. Nope. look at Dave. Yeah, it's up. It's up. We know, Dave. He's spitting. He's breaking it. Now this is where Hercules. I was about to say this is where Herc needs to club him, and he does. Oh, he did. He looked down at Heenan, and he paid for that double clothesline. Inverted atomic drops feel like they would hurt, or seem like they would hurt. No, Crazy Jay, that's Dave. Dave Hebner's the ref. Just mentioned that a second ago. Victor, I'm down with that. ECW members only watch along. Sure, we need to do a members only watch along real soon. I'm down with doing an ECW one as long as it's on Peacock. It's probably going to be heavily edited, and it's going to annoy us, but we'll totally do it. Shane, we are pretty early on in the show. Savage has not had that promo yet. He was still treating Elizabeth like shit at this time. Now they're both out. Yeah, little timekeeper's table. You got Mel Phillips over there. Fink. Yeah, he's spitting all over Hercules' back. And there's the bell. Dave counted very fast. Yeah, Heenan went and kicked Billy Jack. Now he's chasing Heenan around. Jesse never sees it, does he? I didn't see that. And here comes Herc. Herc's got his chain. Oof. Look at him there. See how people complain about AEW? Look at this, right in clear view of the camera, Billy Jack's blading. Yo, Dan Price, good to see you. Good to see Ray Frand in here too. Anybody else that's been showing up? And what's weird about this, too, is I don't remember. I'm sure they did on the live events and stuff, but I don't remember any sort of payoff to this on TV. Billy Jack stuck around in WWE after this. I remember him working in '87. Oh, he's busted wide open. I don't remember him having too much more matches with Hercules. And back then, there was no, like, pay-per-views to, run it back again. It wasn't a pay-per-view every month, so. Oh, now he's going to put the... Collect the chain. You got to watch yourself. I saw Bobby go, whoa, when that thing starts moving. If you're not If you're not paying attention, you can get thrown off that thing. Didn't they do this again? I mean, I know they did the carts at WrestleMania 6, but wasn't there like a modern WrestleMania that they were doing this? Didn't they bring this back for something? What am I remembering? Or I might be completely misremembering. And the chain shot right here. Nailed him. They're even showing the blading on the replay. Oh, yeah. It's the little guys. Big trouble comes in little packages. And so he's got, that's Little Brook and Tokyo with Bundy. Lord Littlebrook was a very famous mini wrestler. Back then, it was totally fine to call them midgets. Gorilla goes, he's going to look to make some grape squash on some midgets. Jesus. Look at Euchre hamming it up. I love that Euchre's going to sit in on this one. And here comes Bundy and his little guys. I remember and Little Brook, I want to say he had like a Skylo Low was his little partner. Look at his little Andre outfit. He's wearing the one strap. He's got the headband. He's shades. He's awesome. Get that guy like a little miniature Harley Davidson or something. Oh, wow, I forget this referee's name, but he's an old one. Look at Little Beaver and the Haiti Kid. I mean, Little Beaver was already pretty old. Or older. Just hearing him just call him midgets is funny to me. I don't know why. And so they're dubbing this. I'm not even sure if Hillbilly, well, I guess maybe he did. I wasn't even sure if Hillbilly came out to Don't Go Messing with a Country Boy at WrestleMania 3, but he did because that was on the wrestling album. But they're dubbing their own music here, which is just bizarre. Mud Lick, Kentucky. Is that a real place? People in Kentucky licking mud? Yeah, WWE definitely edited this theme because this is Hillbilly's theme that he sang on the wrestling album, but the problem is they must not own all the licenses to it or something. But this editing on Peacock is so terrible. All right. I remember after this match, too, Bundy will get his hands on Little Beaver. And then, like, after that on TV, a few weeks later on TV, Little Beaver did, like, a wrestling ice cream bar commercial. And at that same time, the ice cream truck used to come through my neighborhood, and they had those. So a lot of times I'd be watching wrestling, and the ice cream truck would come by, and I could run out there and give them $1.25 in quarters or whatever it was and get the WWF ice cream bar. Like, I did that so many times when I lived in Michigan. All right, we got Little Tokyo and the Haiti Kid in there. Look Look at this four-way crisscross. Tokyo and Little Brook ran into each other. This match is crazy. If you notice, Bobby Heenan is not at ringside for this. Little Beaver does not have the most flattering colored trunks, does he? Like, look at those things. Like, don't you have some blue or red or something? You have to wear that flesh-colored puke color? What the hell? Knee in the boiler. Look at Little Beaver selling. I remember when he did that ice cream commercial, he's like, every time I think about what Bundy did to me at WrestleMania, I get hot. And the only way I can cool off is with a delicious WWF ice cream bar. And he like takes a big bite out of it. Little Brook. A wily veteran that he is. I'm certain that I know Little Beaver passed away. I think Haiti Kid did. I don't know about Lord Littlebrook. He died in 2016. Wow, so he did live a while. Damn, he died at 87 years old. Wow. That's incredible. He lived a long time. So in this match here, he was already 48. Not even both of them, not even all of them. No, I think he was in his 50s. Excuse me, Lord Littlebrook, at this point. 58. 58, I think Littlebrook was. Something like that. No, not that old. Maybe that old. I can't add. All right, so we got the big fellas in there now. It's almost weird seeing the big guys in there after the big elbow by Hillbilly. Looked like shit. Hey! That's illegal. What an interesting tale of two WrestleManias for King Kong Bundy. Off the top of my head, Bundy is 1-4 at WrestleManias. He won a squash at WrestleMania 1. Of course, lost to Hogan in the cage the following year. Pretty sure he loses a DQ here. And then he would never compete at WrestleMania again until WrestleMania 11 when he would lose to Taker. Oh, Beaver smacked him. That was a Beaver smack. He hit him with his shoe. He hit him with his shoe. There's a lot of Beaver all over this place. Sonic, I've got that box set too. It's in my closet. It's actually not even displayed, but I've got the 13 WrestleManias. Yeah, I've got that one too. Oh, and he body slammed Little Beaver. You bastard. That's right, Beaver. Oh, that's it. I mean, that was pretty gnarly. He just flattened the poor guy. He's going to splash him. Yeah, he smacked Bundy right in the face with a shoe. Oh, look at even his own partner's like, no, hell no, dude. There's Hillbilly getting him out of there. Those turncoats. I love that Tokyo and Littlebrook just were like pissed. Poor Little Beaver. Now we got to hear that. There's Lanza directing traffic. Come on, get out of the ring, guys. I love that Hillbilly's going to carry him. Oh, what a nice guy, that Hillbilly. Beaver might need some medical attention. We got a flattened Beaver over here. Yeah, Bundy was gone by the time they got to WrestleMania 4. Oh, Mary Hart and Elizabeth. Wow, look at this. The following year would be Vanna White and Elizabeth. Look at Elizabeth. Moment of silence for Elizabeth. She is so fucking hot. Ooh, trepidatious is the word of the day. Go ahead, Mary Hart. Answer me anything. Ask me anything. Is it always this way? Mary Hart, I'm not sure what you're wearing. And that hair. With hair like that, her name should be Donna. You ever notice that? Women named Donna have short hair? Look, it's out there, especially if you live in the States. You are a real, yeah, poor Mary Hart. Yeah. No, Savage Steamboat, I don't think happens for a little while longer. Yeah, I was about to say, this whole feud right here was interesting. Dog and Harley Race. Harley Race coming in and then making him the king was certainly a decision. I remember they did like a special report on TV prior to Race coming in, announcing that they had signed Harley Race, and I thought that was a big deal. And then he came in with this king gimmick. It's just weird to see him like that. It was like WWE's way of saying, you know, we know you're a multi-time world champion. We don't have any plans for you to be world champion here, but we still want to give you a gimmick that stands out, kind of thing. But of those, when you think of like some core NWA champions, Funk, Dusty, Race, the only one Vince really pushed was Flair. Because he got his hands on everybody else, but for whatever reason, Moolah is here with them. So when you think about like Elizabeth's beauty, the opposite of that would be that scuzz bucket wearing red right there. See, now, I love that Euchre has got like a hard-on from Moolah. That woman would make a strap-on go limp. Jesus. The following year, he'd be all up Vanna White's butt. Euchre's just crazy, man. Me and Elizabeth just watched Major League just the other night, last week. Hadn't seen it in years. She can, like, recite the movie. I've seen it only a handful of times. It was fun. Why is there a goblin on my screen? I don't look that bad, do I, JJ? No, I'm kidding. I know who you're talking about. Moolah, I believe, yes, still is the women's champion at this time, yeah. JYD. Another North Carolina boy. JYD lived a lot of years in Charlotte, I believe. He did bounty hunting out there after his wrestling career. See, now this is what drives me crazy. This song, Grab Them Cakes, is on the same album that Hillbilly Jim's song is on, but Hillbilly's is edited and dubbed, and Junkyard's is not. I like Dog's music. It was weird having him and Herc both with chains, but he at least had a dog collar. And these two guys were such... Race is in good shape there, isn't he? These guys were such massive stars. outside of WWE. I'm not sure if anyone was over as JYD for a short time there, right before he came in. And even when he was in WWE, he was a very, very popular star. He was on the cartoon. He had the posters. He had the action figures. And much like Race, though, he wasn't going to be somebody WWE was going to put the belt on, but they were still going to use him. I didn't see either one of these guys being like a singles champion in the company ever, even as a kid. Okay, so we got this referee that I referenced last time. This referee is the one that reminds me of Barf. Is that what it is? You Can't Do That on Television? The Canadian show from back in the day. That like kids show where they slimed you and shit. He was like the crazy, cracked out chef. That guy. That's who this referee reminds me of. Looks just like him. Yeah, I'd watch the original tapes too if we could, but unfortunately, we all don't have copies of that, and it's much easier to keep track of this and watch together when we're watching on Peacock, but I could buy several hundred VHS tapes, mail them out to all you guys, then we could put them all on our VCRs and hit play together, but this is a bit easier, just by a little. Moolah is very scared. Race could bump. He had interesting bumps. He could do a lot of stuff. I do remember the finish of this being a little kind of flat. Yeah, please be kind, rewind. Please do. Right there, Blockbuster. We've got an abdominal stretch. Race had such a short run in the company, too. I guess he came in '86. I remember the coronation when he debuted and they put the crown on him and shit. And then he would work all through most of '87. He'd get hurt in a match with Hogan. Big up and over. The following year, no, actually, he'd work all of '87. He'd work WrestleMania 4. These two guys actually had an altercation in the Battle Royal the next year. I'm pretty sure Junkyard Dog eliminated Race. And then he would work until he got injured against Hogan. And then he came back to put over Haku to pass the crown to him. And then I think he was back in the NWA or WCW after that. Here's the finish. Belly to belly. A guy like Dog tried to kick out, but he couldn't. Now, another thing I remember about this, too, is I don't know what the behind-the-scenes story was, but there's a stip in this match. Dog is supposed to bow. I don't think he does. He blasts King, and I think he gets suspended. Bow and kneel. Did look like he kicked out. I think the point was to make it like a really close call, but look at Race in the chair. He's got to be hot wearing that thing. Hurry up and bow to me, Dog, so I can take this off. Curtsy. He did it. And now he's got the chair. Now, I'm pretty sure, like, on TV, they suspended Junkyard Dog for this. But I don't remember the backstage story because Junkyard Dog was off of TV for a good portion of 87. I don't know if he was hurt, if he went and got some surgery or something, or what went on. But after this was the last time we would see JYD for a little while. Like I said, he worked WrestleMania 4, but he didn't work Survivor Series. He didn't even work any of 87 from what I remember. I don't remember him working at all in 1987 after this. I don't remember seeing him on TV. Nothing. So I don't know where he went, what he did, what the deal was there, but he would be back. Didn't Sheik and Duggan get fired for smoking crack the night before WrestleMania 3? No, Mike, that was not the night before WrestleMania 3. It wasn't 87. I think it was shortly after this because Sheik and Duggan both have appearances on the show. It would probably be a couple of months after this, I believe, and then Sheik would get let go. Duggan would be brought back rather quickly. Look at the guy driving the thing. How do you get that job? Beware of the dog. Ooh, Vince. Ooh, Vince is with Hulk. Trying to keep him calm. What's cool about this promo is Hogan's right. People did the lunch table at school. Even though Hogan had been champ for 4 years, many kids thought that was going to be the end. Andre was going to toss him around the ring, kick him a few times, and pin him. Hanging and banging. WrestleMania 3. This is 16 years later. These guys will be fighting each other at WrestleMania. Look at Vince's face. What a promo. Hogan could got a promo in the 80s, couldn't he? Holy shit. What you gonna do, you big, stinking, nasty giant? Oh, the Rougaus. That's right. This is going to be the end of the Dream Team. This is when Jacques and Raymond were babyfaces. They weren't all-American boys yet. They were good, well-respected wrestlers who were quiet. And I've always been a Ray Rougeau mark. Ray's tough as hell. I think if Dynamite Kid would have tried that shit with Ray Rougeau, it might have been a different story. Jacques was always in good shape, too. Look at the Dream Team. Dino's already with him. There's a brunette now. Fucking luscious Johnny. Cascase. The Dream Team. Year before, Beaver and Greg were dropping the tags to the Bulldogs. Bravo wasn't even there yet. Bravo just went blonde. He was brunette when he came in, and then he dyed his hair blonde for some reason. And Dino would wear like the regular Canadian flag here, but then when he would kind of split off on his own, it would be the Quebec It was all about Quebec. That is a good-looking robe Hammer's got. He would, I guess this is the debut of that robe. He would keep that for a couple years. Gorilla shouting out the East-West connection. And Ventura talking about his feather boas. I always laughed. Hogan stole that feather boa shit from Jesse. He started wearing that as soon as Jesse Ventura became governor of Minnesota. Hogan had to, he had to get in on that. Going on talk shows, talking about running for president. He saw Jesse's success. Started wearing the boa like him. Now, Beefcake, that's not Ramon, it's Raymond. It's not Raymond, it's Raymond. Raymond Rougaus. And the Dream Team at this time, if you notice, Beefcake's hair kind of looks a little weird. They had a TV match on Superstars, I think like what would be considered maybe the go-home Superstars, like the last TV before WrestleMania. And I swear it was like a 6-man. I can't remember who was involved, Dream Team and somebody else, but Beefcake accidentally got his hair cut or something in that match by Luscious Johnny or by Dino or something, and it was starting to cause a crack in the foundation. So you could see that the Dream Team was kind of struggling. Wow, that was interesting double team sequence by the Rougaus there. Ooh, those overhead shots are so good. These are not on the Coliseum videos, I don't think. These overhead shots right here that we're looking at right now, I don't ever recall seeing that camera angle on the tape, but I could be wrong. That's where those nasty Bulldogs stole the title. Yeah, so Beefcake, this is the night that Brutus Beefcake became the barber and turned babyface, because he'll get abandoned here. He'll show up later, might even be the next match, Piper and Adonis, and he would help. Yeah, because Adrian was involved in that 6-man as well. That's right. It was probably the Dream Team and Adrian. It was probably Greg and Beefer and Adonis against like 3 dudes or something. And Adonis, I think, is the one that had cut Beefcake's hair. Somehow, I can't remember how it happened, or it was by accident or something. But that pissed off Beefcake, so Beefcake would come back during that match and help Piper shave Adonis's head. And then after that, he was a babyface. Went to barber school, got his barber's license, started coming out just like with the white barber's jacket and the little shears before he graduated to the big guys. So this is all the beginning of Brutus the Barber Beefcake right now. He was about to become him. You're watching the evolution. Bobby Heenan has joined us on commentary, and he is pumped. Yeah. I don't deal with midgets. I had nothing to do with them. See, he's not counting the Bundy match. Heenan thinks he's 2-0 because Hercules beat up Haynes. And Race beat the dog. Oh, yeah, Dino's got a dark side to him. Their finisher was so weird. It's basically a dick in the face. And here's Dino's gonna. That was the finish, the Rougaus finish right there. And then Dino comes off the top, helps Greg. Referee doesn't see it. And he got him. A win's a win. And the Dream Team wins. So like they kind of like Beefcake doesn't know what's going on. These guys are all leaving. Now, they're just going to abandon poor Brudai. I also want to say that after this, either on TV or the live event circuit, they were running 6-man matches with the Rougaus and Beefcake against all three of these guys. Because every now and then, Luscious Johnny, he was one of the Valiant brothers. He would get back in the ring from time to time and wrestle, kind of like Heenan would, kind of like Fuji would. And I think they ran 6-man matches on the loop with these guys right after this. Yeah, it's the next matchup now. This was when Piper retired. But at the time, you know, as a kid, you really thought this was going to be the last time you were going to see Piper again. And as a kid, I had only experienced and enjoyed about 6 months of babyface Piper. Like this, all that they're showing here happened like late 86 when Piper went baby. And 1 year earlier, the first 2 WrestleManias, he's one of the most hated wrestlers in all of WWE history. And here, on his way out, he's going to go out a babyface. Piper's Pit, the old Piper's Pits. I love those. Or the new Piper's Pit, I should say. Look, I mean, look at the weight that Adrian had put on at this point. I mean, it was crazy. And Adonis and Piper, it's a shame they didn't do more. It's almost a shame they didn't hook up earlier than this when Adonis was not in that gimmick. In this crazy gimmick that he had. Oh. He's squirting the arrogance. It's the arrogance in his face. I don't know why we cut to a WrestleMania 3 logo there. It's funny how Piper would have to wrestle Adonis here and then years later work Goldust. I'm like, what is it with Piper working with these gimmicks? I couldn't even tell you if I got anything to eat or drink at the show. I don't remember drinking anything. I don't know if I had any popcorn. It's a blur. It's a fucking blur. They might have censored where he was spraying the shit in the eyes. It's possible. Yeah, well, what I was going to say about Piper, Piper left. Yes, this was a true retirement, but as a kid, you thought he was really retiring. You didn't know that Piper's intention was to take a couple years and go off and come back. So, but you didn't know that. You had no idea. So it wasn't until 2 years later, WrestleMania 5, they started tossing his name around a little bit. And I'm like, ooh, Piper coming back. Now I'm a couple of years older. I'm in the 7th grade. I'm ready to see Piper. Oh, now we're going to get a... See, Adonis. He's got those. So this is a hair match. You got to remember, Piper's retirement is a hair match, and this is how this match that didn't even have anything to do with Beefcake is what caused Beefcake to become the barber. Very cool how this tied into a completely different wrestler. And it was smart, too, because they were losing Piper, and they were going to replace him with, a new babyface that would hopefully get over, and Beefcake did. He was over like Rover, man. Over. I like that Piper's going to walk this. Just like his, very similar to his entrance at WrestleMania 8. So he wouldn't wrestle again until 3 years later. He'd come back 2 years later, WrestleMania 5. He'd do the Piper's Pit thing with Morton Downey. He'd work Bad News at 6, but he wouldn't work 7. He was injured. So after this, he only worked, I think, 3 other WrestleMania matches, came in twice as a referee. He's been at 3 WrestleManias where he hasn't wrestled. WrestleMania 7, WrestleMania 10, WrestleMania 11. WrestleMania 19, he showed up as well, didn't wrestle, right? So that's 4 Manias he made appearances as. There might be another one. And then his matches was this one, Bad News at 6, Brett at 8, Goldust at 12. He worked the Jericho thing at 25. Not sure what else he did. And I'm pretty sure this might have been the only match he won. I think the Mickey Rourke thing, his team won in that, I think. So he's probably like 2-4 at WrestleMania, something like that. Bad News was a double count out. Lost WrestleMania 1. Pretty sure he lost WrestleMania 2 in a DQ or something to Mr. T. Oh, and he's got the mouth. I just cannot believe the size of Adrian Adonis. He was never a small guy, but he's just straight up obese here. Before, he was just thick, you know. But this is just straight grossness. The pink, much like Little Beaver, this color does not suit Adrian very well. Fans are livid. Piper was so over. Ooh. I understand that Piper, wanted to, leave, do movies, reinvent himself, but leaving the business when the business is at its highest point is pretty amazing. If I was Piper, I might try to ride this out another 2 years and then leave. And then come back. Instead of coming back in 1989, leave in 1989, come back in 1991 or 1992. Fucking Dave Hebner is letting this. Oh my God, what a bump. Oh, hug each other for comfort. The fans, this is the loudest the building's been so far, easily. And I do remember that. I do remember just my memory of this match being a lot of Piper throwing around the larger Adrian Adonis. Like Adonis, even though he was grotesquely overweight here, he could still move. And he was still a really good wrestler. And what's funny is 3 years later when Piper would work Bad News, Jesse would say, I'm going to be a biased announcer because this is that's my tag team partner, referring to Piper because they did a TV show where they were like a buddy cop team or something like that. But his real tag team partner is Adrian when they were the East-West Connection. Good night, Irene. That's right. Both men used the sleeper as their finisher, and Beefcake would use that as well. And it's crazy. This is kind of the end of both of these guys. I don't recall when Adrian was killed in the car accident, but it wasn't long after this. Might have been a year later. Sounds about right. Oh, thank you. That's right. Piper's Pit with Austin. There's another one. WrestleMania 21. So that's 5 WrestleManias now. WrestleMania 5, WrestleMania 7, WrestleMania 10, 11, 19, 21. Those are 6 WrestleManias off the top of our head where Piper had something to do or a segment, but he wasn't on the show. Or he didn't wrestle. Yeah, Gorilla knows it's a former partner. Mm-hmm. The pink gear on Adrian is tough to not look at. Piper's like, bring it. Oh. Ah. The arrogance. I love that Rick Martel would bring that thing back. This could be it. God, Jimmy Hart is all over the place with those shears. I don't know if after that, I mean, how long did Adrian, I don't remember seeing him on TV much after this, a little bit. I remember him with the bald head. He had a couple of matches, but I think he was let go or something shortly after that. And he was out of the WWE months before he passed away. But I'm assuming that, I guess on the live events, they probably ran with Adrian and Beefcake. This sleeper is so improperly applied. Look at that. If anything, he's just suffocating him because his hand's over his face. Adrian thinks he won. Jimmy Hart has got a murder weapon. And there's Beefcake waking him up. Apparently that's how you wake somebody up. And from the sleeper, you just bash him in the back of the neck. Beefcake, I don't know where Beefcake came from. If he ran all the way down there. Oh. And now the sleeper. That was terrible. Adrian hit the ropes and then hit himself. Looked terrible. Look at the crowd popping. This is, again, much like Adrian, this is a horribly applied sleeper hold. He's barely got it on. He's just holding his head. There's no cinching up. He's got no blood blockage. They did that whole finish so fast. That was just terrible looking. Adrian does not look unconscious. He just is laying there. And Beefcake's back in the ring. Big, we will miss you, Hot Rod. So cool. Oh, man, wish you luck, Mike. Supposed to get 1 inch of straight ice tomorrow. I've never really heard of ice measured in inches. Just don't get pulled over. You go to jail for a long time. Oh, you mean actual ice? Yeah. Piper's just holding down Jimmy, which is awesome. And they can never get this. These clippers never work. Adrian is literally cooperating. He's just moving around. He's talking. You can see his lips moving. He's talking. He's mentioning things. Asking Beefcake what he's doing later tonight. I think it hurts him. He's probably like, God, fuck, it hurts. Hebner's got those shears. That's smart. There's the. I'm about to say, just get those. Get the fucking clippers, man. Ew. And they didn't even really shave his head. They just cut his hair, so he looks like shit. Oh, they got the mirror. I love it. Piper's just running away. Cover up poor Adrian. What a mess. Yeah, a fan does jump in the ring here. They've got him already, I think. Oh, maybe not. I don't see him out there yet. I'm pretty sure. I know a fan jumps in because I remember the security. I think that's Pat Patterson out there in the gold, right? In his farewell match. Oh, and he kisses the Fink. Very cool. Oh, there's a fan. Oh, my gosh. Piper actually lets the guy. He hugs the guy instead of, like, beating his ass. That's actually cool. There's Patterson and Lanza. Look at the dark hair. There's Arnold Skoland. I love it. I like that Piper indulged the guy. I remember that happening, but I've never really thought about it much. Like, I wonder who that guy is. Has he ever done an interview or talked about his experience that day? He got to hug Piper in his final match. He's probably my next door neighbor, and I didn't even know. Pontiac Silverdome Cherry Bowl. I don't remember what that was. Yeah, then the fan missed the rest of the show, and he'd missed kind of a good one. Well, he had an easier time than the one that jumped in when the NWO was formed. Scott Hall murdered his face. Okay. Oh, he wants to be introduced from inside. So this is all a cover just to get Jesse out there so he can handle Matilda? I love that Euchre is picking Moolah over Mary Hart. So this would be the beginning of the Jesse introduction. Hearts and Bulldogs are already in the ring. And the following, 3 years at WrestleMania, Jesse would stand up on the platform and pose for everybody. But at age 45, I did not learn that the reason Jesse is out there is because he's Matilda's owner. I didn't learn that until 2 weeks ago. Never knew that. I'm like, well, that makes sense. Yeah, that all checks out. Yeah. Mm-hmm. You guys watch the new Beavis and Buttheads? They're pretty funny, man. Oh, yeah, that's right. Pretty funny. All right, Barf is our referee again. Oh, no, the Bulldogs are not in there, just the Hearts. With their silver tag team championships. Hearts had just won these titles the previous month in February. Neidhart's got such a belly on him. Jesus. And dangerous Danny Davis. I never knew that Danny Davis was from Dover, New Hampshire. Is that the capital of New Hampshire? I think it is. What a dick. And I got to tell you, as a kid, he was probably the guy in wrestling I hated the most. He was the number one heel to me. And I was really looking forward to this match. I was kind of upset it wasn't a title match. But if you don't have the plans to take the belts off the Hearts, then put them in a six-man. It is weird that these belts weren't on the line, but I hated him so much. What's funny is the reason I hated him, this is ironic, the reason I hated Danny Davis so much is because he helped Randy Savage and Bret Hart win championships. Does anybody know who my two favorite wrestlers of all time are? Shouldn't Danny Davis be like the number one babyface to me? But I hated him at that time. Hated him. And Matilda, look at her. She's like, this sucks. Ben, that's not that Danny Davis. That Danny Davis from OVW is a different Danny Davis. Not this one. He's got, I mean, look at him. Matilda really is going after him. I don't know what he's got to make him chase him. That's awesome. Look at Jesse still in there. That's so funny. Like, all these years, I never really put that together. That why the fuck is Jesse out there? Now it all makes sense. Sometimes you don't even think about things, and decades go by, and it never really occurs to you why you watch something weird happen. Oh, wow, and Danny got tossed over. Oh, God, you're going to have to... This Mary Hart is going to be Art Donovan. Gorilla, you got your work cut out for you again, having to explain this to her. How much does he weigh? How much does Tito Santana weigh? Shut up, Mary Hart. What's up, WWE fan? There's Jesse. The design, yeah, Victor, they kept that design for quite a while. They would change the belts up. These belts were more silver. 3 years later, in 1990, when Hearts would win them again, they were remade into gold. That's right. We got Mary Hart on commentary. Perfect match for her to be commenting. Fucking Danny Davis. Tito had a bone to pick with Davis too, man. Starting to get dark in the arena, as you can see. Anvil doesn't know what's going on. Big backdrop on Jim. You know, I'll tell you why. Another reason why Robert the Macho King was such a good gimmick, because he was already the Macho Man and a household name, former WWE champion, huge star of the era as the Macho Man. Then he becomes the Macho King, and it wasn't even hard to make that transition. Like, people, I remember fans started saying Macho King pretty quickly after that, and then the Macho King got over to where when he went back to the Macho Man, people still called him the Macho King. I remember, like, just casual fans calling him the Macho King years after he was the Macho King. And it just stuck, you know. It was just something that was a couple years old until he retired, like from, 89 to 91. And then when he came back in late 91, he was back being the Macho Man. So he was just the king for those 2 years to give Savage something meaningful to do without having him in the title picture, I think was the whole point of that. And to put the crown, the king gimmick, on another wrestler. And I think of all the kings they've had in WWE, Savage was the best. Like Brett and Dynamite. So cool. I don't know how Dynamite came back so quickly. I'm trying to remember if he had his back surgery. He could have had his back surgery before this match. He had to have had it after. So I don't know. I don't remember the story. Who better evil ref, Dangerous Danny or Nick Patrick? I hated them both. I'll probably say Davis is better because I just do not like Nick Patrick. I don't like his ref style. I don't like his face. I don't like anything about him at all. I think a Dynamite twitching his leg. I'm gonna go grab another cold one. I'm out of beer. Oh wait, no, I'm not. Danny Davis is in the ring. Never mind. I gotta watch this first. Danny is now in the ring. Oh, and he took 2 kicks. You bastard. Now we're back to Brett and Dynamite. I'd rather watch this anyway. I'll get another beer in a minute. Don't want to miss anything good. Brett might be bleeding a little bit in the mouth. I can't tell.
That's why he's the mouth of the South. At least he's got something to back him up some of the time.
Well, he certainly does. He has the reigning World Wrestling Federation Tag Team Champion.
Yeah.
Of course, the championship not on the line here in the 6-man tag team match.
We're going to have to rename Dynamite Firecracker if he doesn't shape up.
Firecracker. Mary Hart, don't you be cracking jokes now. I still remember the Entertainment Tonight song. Davis is back in. Boy, of all the guys you don't want to be in there, I guess, well, Dynamite is softened up, as they say, but still. A couple of kicks. He's going to go get out. Perfect. This is excellent heel work. I hated Danny Davis as a kid. I kind of like him as an adult. I like him way better than Nick Patrick. But if I do have any memory of this show at all being there, it's of when Danny Davis is getting his ass kicked. I just remember, you know how like little kids, all their little systems are in a mess and their hormones and they're all crazy because their bodies are developing, and kids seem to get like really like, sometimes. I swear I was like that when Davis was getting his ass kicked. I was just spazzy. I was just like, fuck yeah. Like I felt like I was punching him. Like, look at Tito. Finally, Davis screwed up. He made a mistake. I think it's the pile driver that I remember. I mean, Davis is just getting the shit kicked out of him. The Hearts are disposed of. Big flying forearm. That's Tito's finisher. I mean, this guy eats a power. I mean, look at these right hand. I felt like I was Tito Santana throwing those right hands. I didn't even think a 9-year-old kid could hate another human being as much as I hated this guy. And there's the anvil, makes the save. But, oh, my God, it's probably the angriest I've been as a kid. Nothing at school pissed me off. I never got in a fight or a disagreement with a classmate that made me as mad as Danny Davis made me as a kid. And this here is so great. Just big punch in the face, clothesline type of thing. He rams him right into Dynamite's head. He is in no man's land. That's a bad neighborhood. Big power. Oh, here's the power. This is the pile driver. Tombstone. Boom. I mean, that I remember. I just remember going, yeah. You know that meme of that kid, or that gif of that kid at the football game? He's probably like 2 years old and he's going, yeah. That was me. Davis is just getting his ass kicked. They should have just pinned him right there, but I mean, I'm glad they got a few minutes with him just to pulverize him. Now he took everybody's finisher. He took a tombstone pile driver. He took Tito's flying forearm. Now he's going to take a bulldog power slam. He took a headbutt from Dynamite. Big high forearm there from Tito. Oh, God. Oh, God. It was hard to see it, but the Colonel passed Danny Davis the megaphone, and he walloped Dynamite. 1, 2, 3. I don't know if I was really saying the F word a lot at age 9, but I don't remember being pleased. A dirty, dirty referee. And the Hearts win. Yeah, and Tito Santana and Brutus Beefcake both kind of had similar roles in this Mania. They both made appearances later in the show, because Tito had something going on with Slick and Butch Reed at the time, and he kind of owed them one. Or maybe it was Slick. I think it was Slick.
Then all this pandemonium breaking loose. Tito Santana with that flying forearm of his. Look at this action on the outside. Look at the megaphone.
And he did hit Dynamite pretty good with that, and it was perfect the way he dropped it, and it slid right back to Jimmy Hart. It was really well pulled off. And then Dynamite throws a referee. Oh, no, I thought he threw him down. Referee noticed it himself. Very similar finish to what Demolition and Strikeforce would do the next year. That camera shot's kind of where my seat was just then. Who's down? Oh, it's the Bulldogs down. Wow. Here we go, Andre interview.
Manager Bobby the Brain Heenan, and I'm privileged to be standing next to the most extraordinary athlete of all time. He is not elected until this date to challenge Hulk Hogan for the heavyweight championship. And this afternoon in WrestleMania 3, Bobby Heenan, your man, Andre the Giant, will be doing just that. You bet he
Heenan in the white. I mean, they were making you think Heenan's dressed like a man that's about to be the manager of the World Heavyweight Champion. You can see Andre's back brace. It's almost like one of those weight belts or lumbar things, or lifting belts that guys at Home Depot wear, whatever those are.
And Hogan, I know what's happening to you now because it's happening to me. The butterflies are in my stomach. The adrenaline's flowing through my veins, and I'm getting ready because I'm going to manage the heavyweight champion of the world. And Hogan, hey, you had 3 good years. You got nothing to look back on. But it's all over.
Oh, yeah, I guess it was just 3 years at this point, not 4, but still.
champion of the world. The biggest heavyweight title bout of all time, Andre the Giant to beat Hulk Hogan.
Crazy. Crazy. And there's Slick. Shout out to our boy Slick right there. Slick is on the shelf. People love me. I can't remember what Slick did to Tito that made him pissed off here. But Slick did something messed up to Tito. Butch Reed might have had a part in that too. I can't remember. But Tito's issue was with Slick himself. And I'm just having trouble recalling what the problem was. Here comes Coco, beware. I can't remember if Tito shows up before or after this. I think he comes in before. Yeah, this was Coco's earlier song before Pile Driver. I forgot he kind of had one. He had kind of just come in. Coco's awesome. Wow, Barry Blaustein shout out. I forgot they were friends. Blaustein is the one that would produce Beyond the Mat. Ooh, I like that shirt. Went down and got it. I want a WrestleMania 3 shirt. I don't know what the Fink is waiting for. He's ready for downtown Detroit. Coco and Butch. Oh, buckwheat. Jesse, that's somethingist. I don't know what, but. $90,000 to $95,000 is what they're thinking. Yo, Alan Carter, for real, man. But Coco's missile dropkick and his brainbuster were both phenomenal moves. He had one of the sickest brainbusters. Pontiac is not far from Detroit at all. It's right on the outskirts. Pontiac is a dump. I mean, a dump. That was the closest hospital to where I lived when I was born, I guess. That's why I was born there. But even when I was still in Michigan, Pontiac was kind of scuzzy. It's a real shithole now. When I was back there in 2009, I had to go to around like some Saginaw areas and stuff, and they're just run down, man. My home state is pretty gross, at least around the Detroit area. There's some great coastal towns on the lakes and stuff, but shit, man. Pontiac is gross.
Just jockeying for position early on in this match. Downstairs goes the natural. See, now that's the mistake. Coco can't get tied up and get into the ropes like this, or Butch Reed's going to tear him apart.
It's like, so I was born in a dump. I was basically born in a dumpster. As far as I know, the hospital's still there. Oh, drop kick. All right, cool. Well, so since Tito hasn't come out and beat up Slick yet, I'll be right back. I only have one beer left, but it's a big guy. It's a big old 805. I guess I'll drink it. I won't drink the whole thing, but I'll drink a little bit of it. I forget who this referee is. It's not Freddie Sparta. I forget this guy's name with the porn stash. I don't know where Kid Rock is from. Eminem, 8 Mile. I know my house was off of 15 Mile Road, I think. Was it 15 or 16? I had one house in Michigan where it was right off of, because that's how they mark the streets there. It's like 1 Mile Road, 2 Mile Road, something like that's how they grid out the city, I guess. But I know our area was off of 15 or 16 Mile Road, if I remember right. But I didn't live in Michigan long enough to really know. I was just a kid. So I'd already moved out of there by the time I was old enough to go places on my own. Butch Reed rolled all the way through and got him. So many guys in the company this time with Butch's build. It was Butch Reed, Dino Bravo, Don Morocco. They all had that build, that same looking build. Coco isn't happy. Oh, yeah, that's right. Slick comes in to attack Coco. Oh, there's Tito. Out of nowhere. And he is tearing his clothes. Oh, my gosh. Tearing the clothes off of Slick. It's that Latin temper. This is Latino heat. Okay, so he's just been interfering in his matches, hitting him with the cane. I couldn't remember exactly what it was, but it was enough to have Tito come out there and try to murder him. I love that double drop kick from... Look at this. The two guys that would be in back-to-back six-mans with the Bulldogs are standing side by side. The following year at WrestleMania 4, Coco would team up with Davey and Dynamite. You saw plenty of WrestleMania 6 shirts at Target during Christmas, like this past Christmas? Or in 1990? That's a random WrestleMania to have, but cool. I feel like I'm at an arena show or a wrestling show drinking one of these tall cans. I got you, Frankie. There goes Coco and Frankie. Make sure our timer's still matching up. Yep, we're looking good. He was trying to run. Poor Slick. I don't recall Slick's debut either. Sometime late 86, I'm assuming. I don't remember exactly when. Slick. What a character. Just seeing so many of these kids here in the audience, all in their 40s and 50s now, and all the adults are dead. All right, here we go. This is a big deal. This right here, I watched live, or at least watched it when it aired, when they did the match with Savage and Steamboat. And I remember thinking what a cool match it was, and then they took it in this direction. And just the way Steamboat's just like falling off the stretcher.
I think a lot of that is due to the tremendous heart of Ricky Steamboat and certainly the phenomenal physical condition that he is in.
But, you know, you really thought that Savage almost killed Ricky Steamboat, you know, because that's the way it looked. He's like, blah, blah, you know. Oh, and they have dubbed over his music. That means in this match we're going to get the shitty dubbed over Ricky the Dragon Steamboat theme and not the Chicago Bulls theme that we all know and love. Oh, yeah, and then George Steele is stealing Elizabeth, because why wouldn't you? Actually, I don't think it would qualify Liz as kidnapping. I think it would just be imprisonment. A crushed larynx. Check it out. I'm pretty sure that's Rita Chatterton right there. I think that is her. Yeah, state of shock. That's right. Yeah. That's when they had the red logo on the Intercontinental title. History beckons, oh, and they cut us off. Oh, son of a bitch. I wanted history to keep beckoning the Macho Man. The sun is starting to set in Motown. I was so glad that belt, when they brought that belt in, I mean, it was still in its infancy here, that classic IC. It would start to look a little better, but Tito was the first guy to wear it. Here in Detroit. Look at Elizabeth. Good grief. There's little steps. Wow. You can't see it, but right above Slick, right here, that is a Ricky the Dragon Steamboat and Randy Savage artwork poster that Elizabeth bought me for my birthday. And it's a limited edition. There's only like 200 of them, and I framed it, and it looks really cool. That's what it looks like. But it's awesome. It's one of, there's a number on it. Oh, maybe it's on the back. Or it's covered up by Slick's head.
My last opportunity. Randy Savage, the day has finally come. The minutes, the seconds, we have reached our moment. As you and I climb into the ring.
I don't love this promo by Ricky. It's too cartoony. He should be like, look, bitch, you crushed my larynx. I'm going to fuck you up and take your title, and I might take your woman too. That's what I'd say if I was Ricky. Not like, we have reached our moment. No, I'd be like, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to come down there and kill you. Whoop your ass. And here comes some terribly dubbed Ricky the Dragon Steamboat music. I mean, at least this one I can understand because I don't think they own the rights to this, and I don't think it's public domain music either. But still, how much would it really cost to buy the license to some of these songs? Honesty is the best policy. Love. We just talked about Slick, I think, in the last stream. I talked about how he seemed like he was kind of like a character out of the movie I'm Gonna Get You, Sucker. He's just got that vibe to him, and he always cracked me up the most. I loved him. I have the fondest memories of Slick. Growing up, he was a favorite in my household every time he was on TV. I remember my dad even getting a kick out of him. And I forgot, Animal Steel is going to be with Ricky here. God, that terrible music. My God. I think my favorite Macho Man gear is the pink and the yellow, or the purple and the yellow that he's wearing here. Like, this is probably my favorite Savage gear right here, is this color pink and the yellow boots and knee pads. But I also like the purple version. They say he's got a lot of heart, but I say he's got a lot of throat. That's true. I mean, it's not really that fair to Macho Man when you think about it, to have a kidnapper who's already kidnapped your wife before to be allowed to be in the corner of your opponent in a championship match in the biggest wrestling card in history. It's kind of fucked up when you think about it and say it out loud. Like, Elizabeth just stands there. She doesn't get involved. She's not an unfair advantage. Randy Savage has already had a previous history and feud and WrestleMania match with Animal Steel. Animal Steel is psycho-obsessed with Elizabeth to the point where he's tried to kidnap her and steal her against her will. And they let him sit out there at ringside. This was unfair to Macho Man. He should not have lost this match. This is a conspiracy, I think, against Macho Man. Athletically, I mean, you got to be at the peak of both of these guys in terms of what they could physically do. It was such a natural match, too. I mean, they're each other's equal on the heel and babyface side, you know? Same size, very similar ability, equally good wrestlers, and equally different characters. The quiet, soft-spoken babyface who's not too controversial, and the trash-talking, loudmouth heel who treats his woman like shit. I mean, you can't get any different. I think that's why the feud worked so well, and it was so believable to a kid like me. He did. God, this shit's so crisp, you know? Steamboat has told some crazy stories, and I hate to be skeptical because I trust Steamboat. There's no reason for him just to lie about shit, but this... I mean, but this idea that Savage wrote down every move step by step, and you got to memorize that shit? I'm like, I'm not memorizing this. I'd hand it right back to him. I'm like, how about you just call it? How about we do that? But I can understand having matches strategically planned like that, planning out specific spots at specific times. That's totally normal in wrestling. But to take it to where every move, every breath, every arm drag, every mannerism that you do has to be laid out and planned out, I don't believe that. I do believe, though, the spot, they kind of knew which order they wanted to do things. But they make it sound like Savage pointing at the referee right now. All that shit was, you know, I mean, you got to improvise some things. Because things happen out there. Because if Savage had all of that written out in every single little step, that means he also needs to have alternatives in case, what if on the backdrop, Steamboat's late or something, and we botch it and we fall? What do we do after that? You know, you have to have a contingency plan. So I guess that's just when you call it and then you pick yourself back up on track. I don't know. I've never been in the ring wrestling before. But the amount of detail that Steamboat claims Savage put into this match almost seems unnecessary. I feel like both of these guys are professional enough that this could have easily been done, and a good match and legendary match could have happened without that type of preparation. But it also might be, you know, your typical pro wrestling embellishment to make stories sound better than they are. But I would fully trust both of these guys to go out there, call it in the ring, and have a fucking classic match because they're both good. Really good. Oh, he's tied. You know what I really wish, though, we would have gotten, like I said, the following year, if we would have gotten these two guys having a rematch in the tournament with Savage winning at WrestleMania 4, or if these guys had a title match, you know, when Savage was champion or something. Granted, it would have to be a babyface match, or you could do it in '89. You could do it when Savage turned heel. If you can do it before you get to Hogan, and you do heel Savage as champion against babyface Ricky again. And then maybe Savage wins that match, is bragging, gets his win back, then continues to attack Steamboat, and then Hogan runs out and makes the save. Savage retreats, and now you got your WrestleMania match for WrestleMania 5 Sat. I would have done that. But if only we had the ability to go back and rebook wrestling 35 years ago. The cervical vertebrae area. What is it? The occipital peruvable protuberance or something? What is it? You got to get up pretty early in the morning. Nope, I don't want to. If you want to accomplish a major thing, I don't think you necessarily have to get up in the middle of the morning to do it. You can get up whenever you want and still accomplish something awesome. If you get up early in the morning, all you're going to do is be tired and be weaker to accomplish your goals. Stupid slogan. Yeah, well, Savage is the one distracting Hebner. He is chewing out Savage. See, this is a conspiracy. This is unfair. Animal should not be helping him. I love that Gorilla also can have heelish answers for things. George helps him back in. See, Savage has already retained his title. There he goes again. Oh, Savage is going to go up to the top, I think. Top rope, elbow smash to Steamboat on the floor. He got him. He is counting. Jesse, chill, bro. Why so angry? No, Gorilla. I love it. I forget what WrestleMania is. I think it's WrestleMania 6. And Jesse is just all up Gorilla's ass about eating hot dogs. It's the funniest thing. How many hot dogs have you had? 7? And Gorilla's like, I got none. You got mustard all over you. Just giving him so much shit. I'm like, I gotta go for a hot dog right now. I love this move by Savage. One of my favorites. Look how fast he's in. He was in that ring 2 seconds later. I mean, that was a very innovative move for the time. And that was one of Savage's regular moves in his repertoire. Yo, Spaz, what's up, dude? Appreciate the $10 from you. Thanks for chiming in. Hey, Greg, chat. Cheap plugs abound. 10 matches not yet confirmed for Mania. 10. Yeah, well, there's a lot not confirmed. That's true. And on the movie side of things, my review of Cocaine Bear. Spoiler, it's awesome. And a trailer reaction for Strays. Cocaine Bear, I'm almost like moderately interested in just because it gets so much talk. Maybe we'll watch it. Cocaine Bear. Crazy. In my head, I was thinking it was just a movie I wouldn't watch, but maybe I will. But go check out Spaz for the movie reviews. And 10 matches. Still 10 on top of what we already kind of have announced. Well, I guess, yeah, it's 2 nights. So maybe 7 matches on each card, something like that. He's going to go big backdrop here. Favorite moment. God. Savage would always take those straight back and over, you know? I think he got eliminated from a Rumble that way, but Savage's over-the-top rope backdrops were pretty good because he could bump. Look at Arnold Skolin. I love seeing Skolin and Lanza out there. Oh, here we go. Top rope. Big chop. Down goes Savage. That was it. That was the time. I was about to say there's a couple of sequences here where the fans think it's over because you're so far away and it's so hard to see and it's so dark and even the screens aren't that visible. That count right there, the fans, everybody around me thought it was over. I remember thinking that was the finish and then realizing it was still going on. But you could smell it, though. Like, the fans could feel that Savage was going to drop the title here. I mean, for Savage to not drop the title would be pretty incredible for him to overcome this conspiracy against him to put a kidnapping maniac in the corner of his opponent, which is just not fair. Oh. We're getting very close. You're getting this little flurry of finishing attempts here. This is another one where I kind of thought it would be it. See? Another pop, too, from the crowd. That was happening every time they went for a pinning combination because just from your vantage point, it looks like you thought it was over. That's the Kurt Hennig bump. Rolled all the way through, backwards. Kicked out again. Kicked out strongly, too. Hebner's counting slow, says Jesse. Good leverage move by Savage. Oh, K-Dog's Kennel. Did I say hi to you yet? What's up, dude? Good to see you, Kevin. Sorry, I've been entranced in this Savage Steamboat match. I haven't been reading a lot of the chat. And there goes Dave with the bump. Dave Ebner with the bump of the century. Fucking great. The referee's down and out. What a conspiracy. So now he's going to, hit his big elbow and have Steamboat beat? He did get him. 2, 3, 4, 5. It's horse shit, man. I don't know where fans get this idea. This is the greatest match of all time. This is a conspiracy for the ages, man. The WWF conspired against Savage to get the belt off of him. Savage has overcome all odds here. He still has Steamboat beat, despite having his previous WrestleMania opponent at ringside. Give me that bell, Phyllis. Give me the fucking bell. Or I stick it up your ass. You'll probably like it. Oh. Animal takes the bell. Savage is going to really try to go for this bell. And look at this outside interference. All Savage is doing is trying to get the bell in the ring. That way it's close by. After he wins the match, so they can ring the bell real fast. That's all he's trying to do. And now Animal Steel interferes in the match physically, throwing Macho Man off the top rope. But Macho, still fighting, is going to try to recover. And then Ricky's going to fall into a small package and wins the title. What a match. You talk about a miscarriage of justice. I'm a little bit on Jesse Ventura's side here. I think that's where the new really became a thing. That was one of probably Howard's best new. It was with Steamboat, I think. That's what I vote. Savage, rightfully so, is fucking pissed. And yeah, I can barely hear Jesse, but he's saying Steamboat should cut the belt in half and give half of it to George. It really, when they dub these songs, it really screws up the audio. You can barely hear the announcers. But all in all, it's a historic match. And on a card that was so heavily centered around Hogan and Andre, that match was close to it. That got just as much discussion. I mean, it was a double main event in my mind because those were the two matches I was interested in this, just as interested in this as I was in Hogan and Andre. Like, for real. And most kids were. Back then, the Intercontinental title was a massive deal. And look, I mean, Savage, I remember we were at school talking about how Savage was crying. Savage was crying after the match. And now, as an adult, I'm like, I don't blame him. He was robbed. Miscarriage of justice. If you're pregnant with justice, it'll get miscarried. That's how fucked up it was. Yo, Ramveer Vinro. Good to see you, man. Appreciate the $5. Happy WrestleMania 3 to you. What a bunch of shit. Ooh, this might be our final match before the... No, I think we got a couple more. I think we still got Sheik and Volkoff and stuff, too. Anybody who is joining us here in the chat, has anybody seen the Jake Roberts doc? It just aired. I think it just ended an hour or so ago. God, and Jake has talked about that guitar shot before, too. Apparently it messed him up. It wasn't a very well gimmicked guitar. It's certainly not shattering like most of the balsa wood deals they do. Alice Cooper. He's done a lot of concerts in Detroit. I just think of Wayne's World with Alex Cooper. Milwaukee.
Alice Cooper, I'm sure you're going to be keeping tabs on Jimmy Mouth of the South Part. I noticed the Spurs.
Yes, I'll be watching him all the way. This will be his nightmare. This is also my hometown.
Yeah.
Hometown of heavy metal.
Oh, I love it.
Alice Cooper, not really much of a charisma machine unless he's on stage. But he's about the same size. He might be arguably smaller than Jimmy Hart. So he's a perfect counterpart in this match. And this is pretty early Honky, too. Honky had only recently turned heel. They were trying to do this Elvis gimmick and make him a face, which was ridiculous. And so then they turn him heel. And he gets pretty over. He's about to win the Intercontinental title in just a couple of months because Steamboat would not last. Alice Cooper was a pretty big deal. Having him here, Aretha Franklin. Very cool. Two opposite ends of the musical spectrum, but still very cool for them all to be on the same show. It's all about diversity. Wrestling is for everyone. You like heavy metal, you like R&B, you like country. You like that song Friday from Rebecca Black? Everybody's welcome. Oh, yeah, Ray. I bet the biography was deep. I'm going to be watching it, not tonight, but probably tomorrow. Tonight is Elizabeth's Friday night at the casino, so she'll be off for the next few days, and we'll hang out together. And we'll be watching that probably tomorrow. No Raw review, or no Raw reaction planned, by the way, for tomorrow. Nightmare song. Nightmare song. Do I like saxophone? I mean, I don't outwardly listen to it, but I mean, in these days, WWE had all those saxophone themes. Kenny G was very good. But other than that, I don't have anything against the saxophone. I'm not anti-sax. I liked Honky's first theme. Honky, honky. I liked it. This was before the Shake, Rattle, and Roll, so they're not dubbing this. This is his actual theme. And I liked it. The Fedorettes. I forgot about the Fedorettes. Yeah, the mouth of the South is now a colonel. I love that. I only said that song because we were just talking about it the other day. I mentioned something to Elizabeth about it. I'm like, what's that fucking song? And then she's like, you know that girl? Like, got death threats and stuff over that? And I'm like, I had no idea or whatever, but I just laughed. I laughed when it came out. I'm like, what the hell am I watching? There's that new rap. There's that song that's been floating around social media. It's like this white girl. It's like a country rapper. She's basically like a white Kid Rock. It is the worst thing I've ever seen. Friday should win a Grammy compared to what this nonsense is. It's so terrible. I can't even, just rapping about biscuits and guns or something. It's awful. It's fucking awful. But it's so bad, it's funny. Like, I wasn't disgusted by the hillbilliness of it. I was laughing. It was a self-parody. They don't even know that they're a walking parody of themselves. And that's what's the funniest about it. But it is so bad. Look it up. I don't know what it's called. Biscuits and shit gravy or something like that. But whatever it's called, it's so bad. WWE, if you notice too, I mean, the heels picked up victories, you know? All the heels either won on this show or got one over, you know? Billy Jack and Hercules, that was a double count out, but Herc busted him open. Hillbilly lost, or I'm sorry, Bundy lost, but squashed Little Beaver. Danny Davis won over the Bulldogs and Tito. Then you had what? Harley Race beating the JYD. Butch Reed beat Coco. Honky is going to win this match. It was all heels winning, except for Steamboat and Hogan and the Can-Ams. Nice short arm clothesline right there already. And that snake is moving, pitching a tent. That looks like something else. Peggy Sue was not around yet. Peggy Sue wouldn't come in for a couple of more years after Honky had the title for a bit. No, maybe he came in. Maybe she came in the next year. Or she was already there. It was Sherry. Okay, I swear that some of these camera angles here, like this one we were just watching right there, that exchange, with Honky and Jake. I don't recall that on the original release. Some more help. I mean, what does Alice Cooper weigh? 110 pounds? Jesus, man. Ramvira, how old was I? I was 9. About 9.5. Just a little tiny, sexy 9-year-old. Big old gap teeth. You know, kids have the big gap. I had all that stuff. I had everything. I had big chompers. Your boy could gnaw through a brick if I had to when I was a kid. Took me a while before I got them shit straight. Yeah, Jake would not have his music for a while. I think it would be a whole nother year until he started using his music. He got him. I remember as a kid, too, being so insulted by Honky Tonk, because Honky Tonk Man is not in bad physical shape here at all. You know, he's got some size to him, but not a lot. But in my mind, I'm like, how is this guy with no muscles going to be, you know, to me, it was always about that, you know. To me, I never thought Jake could really win the championship because he didn't have any muscles. But that's the way kids think. Kids are stupid. And so was I, and so were you. 9-year-olds are idiots. With Alice Cooper. Yeah. Gorilla. See, sometimes Gorilla will surprise me. Shout out to those AI Gorilla Monsoon podcasts. Jesus. I wonder if they'll do me an intro for my podcast. Oh, that's cool. I never once went to a closed circuit event. Wish I would have. Ooh. Oh. Inverter? Yep. Oh. Ooh. Ooh, he got Honky good with it, too. I think my favorite atomic drop sell of all time was a Saturday night's main event. It was Brutus Beefcake against Valentine. So it was after the Dream Team. It was probably late. I think it was this year. It was 87. It would have been maybe like late 87. Maybe even early 88. I don't remember. But it was Beefcake against Valentine. And Beefcake hit Valentine with an atomic drop. And Valentine squatted and he did this with his arms. Like, you know how you would do in gym class with your arms? And he just did that for a minute. It was like the weirdest. Look it up. It's fucking hilarious. Beefcake and Valentine. Saturday night's main event, one-on-one match. Oh, it's so funny. Oh, we're going to do a seesaw. Look like Honky Tonk Man's going to do the Moxley clothesline. Oh, Hart got involved, and Honky's going to look at using the ropes. And he won with help from the ropes. They do something here with Jimmy, right? Oh, ooh. And Jimmy always gets it. The following year, Honky, they rehash a lot of stuff, if you notice. The following year, Honky defends against Beefcake. Honky survives, but Jimmy gets his hair cut. And here, Honky survives. Jimmy's going to get his ass kicked. Or at least get a snake up his ass, one or the other. He's ready to fight. Oh, here comes... Oh, here we go. Now, this is more of a fair fight here. I think Jimmy's got a little more size. I think Jimmy outweighs Alice Cooper. When has Jimmy Hart outweighed anybody? Oh, Jimmy is not wanting any part of this. Alice Cooper ain't afraid of snakes. He probably brings them on stage with him. I have not liked the stories of Jake talking about how a couple of these snakes have died. 2 specifically, which I don't appreciate. He talked about, when we were on the Jericho cruise, he talked about, oh man, and they got it on, finally got on Jim. They barely even got the snake on him. We've heard the story about the snake being frozen in the trunk, right? But Jake told another story where he like left the snake out in the garage or something, and the snake got out. And then when he opened the garage, the snake had crawled up, and you know, like those electric garage doors that open your door, it had climbed all up on there. And so when he opened the garage, like the gears like grinded and mashed the snake up. And he's telling the story like it's funny. And I'm like, there is nothing funny about this. I mean, it's supposed to be like an entertaining show. We're talking about, you know, at the very least negligence, if nothing else, animal cruelty. And you're talking about this like it's hilarious. I'm like, that's not funny, dude. Not funny at all. So hopefully that it was just I don't think, I mean, he's telling everything else he told in the show was true, so I don't know why he'd make that up, but hopefully it's just a story that he made up. But why would you even make that up, you know? And there's the cradle. That Honky Tonk Man written on the back of Honky's trunks, I always remember synonymously with him winning the Intercontinental title. Because he would kind of change his trunks up after that. But as a kid, you have to understand, a 9-year-old watching Honky win the Intercontinental title, I was confused. I was like, this fucking guy? Big tough. Jake is laughing his ass off.
You know, Alice Cooper, he's right at home with this snake. Poor Jimmy Hart, they don't got snakes like that in Memphis.
They don't have snakes like that in Memphis. They do not. They got snakes in Memphis. I'm certain of it. But not those.
There's Jake pitching poor Jimmy down, grabbing that snake, draping it all over Jimmy Hart. Oh, look at that. Look at that.
Yeah, and the garage story supposedly happened after the frozen trunk and the snake story. He told that story too. Thought it was hilarious. And I was there to have a good time. I'm willing to be laid back and open-minded and, you know. But I don't like to hear about that, no matter how much, no matter how good a time I'm trying to have, you know. All right. Mean, the two bald guys, Mean Gene and Howard in the ring together, side by side. It's not something we've seen a lot, and it's very cool. Gene, I believe, is going to announce. Look at that! Look at that! I want to make that my YouTube banner. Howard and Gene. I think Gene's here to announce the attendance. And this was a good thing for wrestling, you know, to hold an attendance number like this, whether it's a record or just a really big number, however you classify it. It did set some records, and it held for a while. World indoor record. So, like, if that's an embellished number, where did they come up with that number? Is that the number of tickets sold, but there was only 80,000 in the building? That could also be true. I don't know. Okay, so they might have been going after a specific Rolling Stones record there, too, that Jesse alluded to from New Orleans. But I know, I mean, they've since shattered this record in years. We've had soccer games, and some of those NASCAR races can draw 120,000, which blows my mind. This blows my mind. But I watch men fake fight in their underpants, so I guess I can't judge a NASCAR race. But still, here comes Sheik and Volkoff. One of the last times as a kid I remember seeing Sheik in the WWF before his arrest. And he briefly did come back as the Iron Sheik late in the year or early 98, but it was short-lived. Or early 88, excuse me. It was short-lived. And then he would be gone for 3 years until he came back as Colonel Mustafa. Volkoff and the Sheik won the tag team championships at the very first WrestleMania. The Slickster is still storing up. He had no other clothes with him. Yeah, indoor and outdoor records are different, but even though it was indoors, I still thought the 93,000 was up there with the biggest crowds. But now I'm just saying, like, 90 or 100,000 is just a lot of fucking people. So to have crowds that draw more than that is pretty incredible, whether it's indoors or outdoors. Here comes Hacksaw running. Look at all the shit flying in the ring, too. Fucking Detroit, man. I guess they're throwing that stuff because they don't want to hear it. Me and my friend, my buddy, when we would go to wrestling shows in the Attitude Era, we would always stand for this stuff. Or we would always stand for the heels if they wanted to sing a national anthem or do something. I'm trying to remember who we did that for. But we would just do it to be heels, just to be goofy. It's the land of the free and the home of the brave. I have just never been patriotic and have never understood it. Yeah. Jesse said Gorilla was standing up for the Russian national anthem. And here come the Killer Bees. Mike Witt, if you're here, here's one of your boys. The other half of the High Flyers went out and got himself a better tag team partner, if you ask me, in B. Bryan. Even though I think B. Bryan is a B idiot, he's better than Gagney. More like Gag Me. Am I right, Mike? Am I right? I like the Bees. They had so many great teams. I remember the Bees beat the Hearts. Watched it one week on TV when the Hearts were champs. Probably would have been just a few months after this. And they pulled the old switcheroo with the masks and they beat the Hart Foundation in a non-title match. That I think earned them a shot on Saturday's main event or something. But the Killer Bees, I don't know why I like the team, but I did. I still like them to this day. Jim Brunzell was great. He, as well as many others in the company at this time, spent a lot of time in the AWA and tag teamed up with Vern Gagne's son for many years. One of your better all-time wrestling drop kicks is Jim Brunzell. He was right up there with your Randy Ortons, your Doug Furnaces, your Bob Hollies. Gagne was there, they would have hit 100,000. He would have drawn that extra little bit. Y'all want to clean the shit out of the ring, or you're just going to wrestle on it? Iron Sheik. I hope the Sheik is doing well health-wise. I don't know who runs his Twitter account, but it's pretty funny. Wow, what quite the bump. I thought for the time that the Iron Sheik's gear is almost a little more modern. Like, check out what he's wearing. Isn't that something you would see in the Attitude Era? Like the style of gear he's wearing? Because he used to wear just short trunks when he was WWE champion, and I think when he first started. But as he got older here, he switched to these, and nobody was wearing that stuff. That's the type of gear you wouldn't see until the Attitude Era. And guys would start being a little bit creative with their stuff. But he almost looks like he's wearing jorts. He's almost wearing some Cena jorts here. I think Cena stole his gear idea from the Iron Sheik. Instead of hooks on his shoes or horns, he had Reebok pumps. John Cena should be disqualified from the Hall of Fame for being a knockoff of the Iron Sheik. Are the Bees really wearing Nikes? I didn't even catch that. Maybe they are. I guess those things are not wrestling boots, huh? I got to get a closer look at them. I guess they are, huh? They definitely do have some high tops. They got some basketball shoes on. It looks like I've never noticed that before. So not only is the Sheik wrestling in more modern gear, the Bees, because now you see guys with sneakers all the time, but you did not see sneakers a lot in the ring at all. It was always wrestling boots. So yeah, that's interesting. See, even all these years later, 34 years later, or 36 years later, excuse me, you still are noticing new things. I would definitely, regardless of what, I think wrestling boots are designed, to just help your ankles, to stop you from rolling them and stuff. But I don't know what I'd prefer. Never got in the ring. Play basketball a little bit, and I know that you want some high tops for that. But rolling an ankle is always a fear of mine. Even at work, I'm a million miles an hour at work, running around up and down stairs. I'm always doing shit. The Rock stole jabroni from Sheik. Was Sheik saying jabroni way back then? I don't know if he was. The Rock also stole Rudy Poo from Iceman King Parsons, who used to say that all the time. G-Zilla fan. Yes, I was a Hitman fan at this time, but I didn't become as big a one until later. So even though the Hearts were heels and I did not like that they beat the Bulldogs, me and my buddy, like, when we were kids, we would, like, play wrestle. And I remember if we were a tag team, arguing over which one of us would be Bret Hart. Neither one of us wanted to be Jim. But I like Bret. But I'd say I didn't fully start liking him. Do you like him like him? Like, I didn't like him for probably another 9 months or so. Around the end of the year, I was kind of over them because I was over the Bulldog thing because then they had dropped the belts to the Strike Force. And so that hate and anger I had towards them had kind of subsided a little bit. And all that year, I wasn't really attracted to Bret in the ring. I just thought he was really good. And it just made it much easier to cheer for him when he became a babyface. Here we've got the camel clutch. Duggan's in the ring. Might as well. Tee off. Doink. Takes out the Sheik. No, I've not seen Dom and Ray at my place. I don't know what part of town they live in. Elizabeth has seen Rey Mysterio at the casino, but I have not seen either one of them. I've seen Nikki Bella a couple times, but neither one of them. I mean, Duggan, another guy who had just come in. I don't remember Duggan's exact debut, but I swear it was 87. I don't remember him at all in 86. So he had just come in, already gotten on TV, already gotten in Volkoff's face. And I don't recall the date of the arrest. It's probably about a month after this, I would assume, with Duggan and Sheik.
Let's go back and take a look at what cost the Killer Bees the match. Now, right here, you see Volkoff running into the ring. Hacksaw Jim Duggan with that 2x4 right behind him, chasing him. Now, look at this. Volkoff's out of the ring. Duggan turns around, looks at the people. Look at this. Wham!
Who was my favorite at this time? Well, I rooted for Hogan because all kids did, but I really did like Ricky Steamboat. Steamboat was probably my guy in the WWE, at least at the age I was at here. But I would say the following year, I was probably more became a Savage fan because Steamboat took a step back and Savage actually excelled. Interview number 2 with Andre and Heenan.
See me now, and I'm going to the ring, and believe me, it's not going to take me too long to come back right in the front of the camera with the wall championship belt around my waist. Oh, I can feel it. Oh, the adrenaline's going. This man right here is going to make me famous. He's going to become the heavyweight champion of the world, and I'm going to go down the history books as the manager of the
It's all about Heenan. It's always about him. He's going to make me famous. He's like, yeah, yeah.
What a story leading up to this one. Here's two guys just who are almost brothers, you might say. And this is going to turn out to be literally a brother.
I mean, they had that big match years ago. I mean, what is that, 79? That match at Shea Stadium? Or maybe it was 81 or 80, somewhere in there. It was babyface Andre against heel Hogan. After Hogan had picked Andre up and slammed him before. A lot of guys had slammed Andre. Bundy and Stud. I have so many fond memories of as a kid in '86. Like my wrestling figures, I can't tell you how many times I had Bundy and Stud versus Hogan and Andre tag team matches with my figures. It was like my go-to match. As a kid, I felt like these were the 4 top guys in the company, the 2 biggest heels, 2 biggest baby faces. Look at Joey Morella's hair. I have this framed because it's such a big moment. This was all so good. This series of Piper's Pits. When you started to see, because I watched the episode as it aired. There's the moment. Right there. I challenge you for what? But how they set that up. And I remember watching the episode where Andre walked away when they were giving him the trophy and Hogan came out and he set it down and walked away and it immediately clicked. I was like, oh, fuck. Andre's getting pissed. And you knew, and then here it is. They set it up.
You can't leave like this, man. What are you doing, Andre?
Hogan's bleeding.
Are you not gonna fight him in WrestleMania 3 for the World Heavyweight Championship? Yes or no? Yeah.
This was all, I feel like that was all done at the same set of TVs because Hogan still had that fresh wound on his chest from Andre's fingernail. And I think the episode where Hogan accepted the challenge was the following week. So I think all of those Piper's Pits, probably all 3 or 4 of them, or at least those last 2, were at the same TVs. Yeah. Should be wearing your belt, Hulk. And I still have all 4 of those figures, by the way.
The day the whole earth is gonna shake. What are those 90,000 plus Hulkamaniacs on the outside gonna think? I'm not worried about the people at the closed circuit. I'm not worried about the people all around the world. They'll see it. But the intensity of Hulkamania, the way it's
I'm going to turn this down just to be safe. On the safe side there.
what are they gonna think when the giant hits the ground? He feels around the Hulkamania and
Yeah, Victor, were you here with us a couple weeks ago, right? We watched WrestleMania 4. Anybody who hasn't hit that thumbs up button yet, I would definitely appreciate it. Subscribers are growing. We're going to hit 35,000. We might be there now. I think we're just a few away. So if you're not subscribed, please do, because we are only about 22 subscribers away from 35K. Taking in almost 400 subscribers in the month of February, which is awesome. So happy times. Mr. Baseball. There he is, coming out. Trying to think what year Major League came out. Was it this year? It might have been this year. Also, he was on Mr. Belvedere. I remember that show. Terry, Tyrell, and Jade. Right on. We love that. We love that shout out. No, Juliet, Winged Eagle wouldn't happen until the next year, right before the pay-per-view we watched last time on that main event show when Hogan beat Andre, or Andre beat Hogan, excuse me, with the twin referees. That was the night of the Winged Eagle. That was a whole year after this. But they did have a second belt made here for Andre, a bigger one, that they featured on TV a few times, but Andre never got a chance to wear it. A big Michigan welcome from Mary, the Hitman Hart. I thought the ring carts were crazy cool. I liked them. They don't make a lot of sense now. It would be hard for you couldn't do it now because back in these days, wrestlers didn't have a routine and much of an entrance. They just came down to the ring for the most part. But now, can you imagine trying to do these things now with all the shit WWE does? Every single women's wrestler has some little dance routine they have to do. The men have got to do their crap. Seth's got to do his dancing. They got to have all the graphics, the lasers, the LED, screen, the Tron, the 3D graphics in the corner, and crazy shit happening. I don't even know how you'd make ring carts work. Plus, a lot of guys walk specific ways to the ring, and then you take all of that away. It would be like in 1998 during Austin's peak. Imagine him the night that he beat Shawn Michaels for the title at WrestleMania 14 in Boston. If he came out on one of those ring carts, what would that look like? And Austin's just standing there? No, he's got to do the BMF walk, So ring carts wouldn't even work today, but they worked back then. And I loved them back then. Ring carts are okay in Greg's book. Carts would be great for celebrities. But these days, how would you do it? The ramp is usually on an incline and it's 2,000 yards long. You have to put a railway system in there or something. And we don't want to be propelling people from the roof anymore. That iconic way, I love that. Like, that's just so iconic. And he no-sells the trash being flown at his face. Watch this, just wave. He just told Bobby, just wave. Wave like me. They have to be in the cart knowing and praying that I hope everything that hits me in the face is just paper and not a beer bottle. Or something heavier. Or a brick. But look at the shit being thrown at him. And he's just no-selling it. Bring it. I mean, Bobby's a little freaked out. I would be. And the only other thing that I can remember that rivals this is what happened when, in another Hogan match, when the NWO formed. And you can see that brace firmly around the back of Andre to stabilize him there. I mean, you can definitely see Andre in the decline here, but he didn't look that bad. I mean, he's still big. He's still moving around. He's not that agile, obviously. The year before this, remember, just 1 year earlier, he was winning the Battle Royal at WrestleMania 2. That felt like a completely different person as a kid. Like when I think about the two Andres. Oh, Jesse rolling down the tail of the tape. Sorry, I missed that. The tail of the tape. See, Hogan couldn't come out on this thing. It wouldn't look right. And at WrestleMania 6, they did it again. They used the carts, but Hogan and Warrior, you notice, didn't use them. Because Warrior runs to the ring, When it comes crashing down and it hurts inside, you got to take a stand. It literally does not help to hide. He's got his thing. He's ready. He's jacked. You had to wonder, I just remember as a kid, it's probably been the only time until I kind of understood what they were doing that Hogan could be beat. 6'8". Calves 20. Biceps a phenomenal 24 inches. I really did like the World Heavyweight title that Hogan's wearing at the time. Like in 87, before I fell in love with the Winged Eagle, I liked this belt. And to be honest, the Winged Eagle looked weird the first time I saw it, but it grew on me real quick, and it looked great on Randy Savage, and it was a perfect belt for him, and it looked great on Brett, and it's the ultimate. I don't even have the Hogan 86 belt. I don't even have it as a replica, or the Hogan 87 belt. Never wanted it. And this is it. Andre just standing there. The magnitude of this cannot be overstated. I'm not even sure if I'm sitting here doing this live stream without this match taking place, you know? Like, it's a huge, this was so big. The way he stood there, how Andre looked, the new gear he was wearing, all black. He looked evil. He looked scary. He didn't, the old Andre that smiled and loved you and would be kind to children and strangers and, you know, a friend was now just a complete monster. I always like when Andre would groan when he'd throw punches. Here it is. Here's the backwards fall here. 1, 2. And Hogan way out. Andre is still Joey Morella's height on his knees. Hogan is hurt. So that was a good start for Andre. Hulk went for the slam right away. Perfect way to start that match. Tease that body slam early. That way when you give it to us later, you're like, holy shit. But now we get kind of a good look at what Andre's limitations really were. I mean, even the previous year at WrestleMania 2, he wasn't doing a whole lot in that Battle Royal. But he could still do something. I mean, he picks up Hogan and body slams him here in this match, I know, but he just doesn't have a, you know, his mobility is gone through an insanely steep decline. I mean, the year before, I mean, Andre was doing funny stuff. I mean, he was one of the machines and all that crap, you know. He had gone through that suspension, which I think was a way just to get him off TV to go do Princess Bride, I think. But when you think about it, this was really a brilliant idea by Vince. I don't know if he had that in his head when Hulk and Andre were teaming the previous years or whatever. Oh, man, if you ever do this match. Must have been on his mind. Seeing Andre with Heenan after all the, wow, big body slam. Body slammed him a couple of times. But Heenan and Andre had already previously feuded against each other with Andre's men. And so that was just, as a kid, just tough to wrap my head around. Especially all the stuff with Stud and Bundy. And now Andre and Bundy are in the same family. They'd be on the same Survivor Series team later on in the year. To me, that was just like, pfft. And that's what was great about characters larger than life like this, is because Hogan is not the greatest wrestler in the world, even though he was physically pretty good at this time. And Andre can barely move and walk, but they were still able to have every fan on the edge of their seat. We weren't sitting there as kids saying this is boring. Like, to be around at this time and feel how big of this was, they didn't really need to do anything. The body slam, you know, was the moment that was created, but the lack of action in this match or the limitations of Andre in no way was taking away from the crowd enthusiasm. Where you do that shit now, fans will just start, you're boring, or oh, I need a sandwich, or start chanting something weird or mess around on their phone or whatever. Not back then. Headbutt him. Andre getting instructions from Heenan. Hulk's out of there. Andre headbutted himself in the face. Right hands. And Hogan could lay his right hands in. He had pretty good looking ones sometimes. Oof. Big chops, chopping Andre. Oh, he's a ram him multiple times. 4, 5, nice. Well, Andre's taking those buckle shots pretty good. Ooh. Here comes Hogan in. Oh, and he eats a boot. Quick thinking by Andre. He's like, God damn, that hurt. He's like, Hogan's giving me a little. He's like, I'm all right. Imagine being on the call for this, too. You know, Gorilla and Jesse. What people were doing in the back. How many people were looking, trying to look through the curtain or watch on the monitor or whatever they had going on back then. I don't know how many monitors were available in 1987 to be watching the match, but I don't know if you'd go out in the crowd or go upstairs to try to watch it or what the talent was doing. Because even if you find a curtain to look through, how much are you going to be able to see? Yeah, I'd love to see what paid outs were. Get a copy of those check receipts or whatever to see what guys got paid for this match. Because, I mean, they didn't have a lot of pay-per-view wasn't available. I think this match was on, I think this show was on pay-per-view in some markets, but closed circuit others, if I remember right. Because I do know that countdown shows exist. I've seen them. Countdown shows of before the show of Mean Gene plugging the merchandise and running down the card that were shot and made. So they had to have been on pay-per-view somewhere. I just don't remember the story. And this was like a 5-minute long bear hug, and the fans were just constantly energized the whole time. I mean, this made the cover of future WWE programs and videotapes, and it was just this big iconic bear hug with Andre and Hogan. I mean, it's just the simplest move ever, but Andre couldn't do a lot. And they kept nearly 100,000 people on the edge of their seat with a fucking bear hug. Try pulling that off today. Checking the arms. 1. Such a silly way of checking consciousness. Feels like you just ring the bell right there. A guy's obviously out. And then all of a sudden he comes back to life. He wakes up. Hogan's fighting. He's hulking. Another one. Whacking Andre's head hard. Got it. Ooh, he moved Andre back a bit. Very close. Ooh, reverse knife edge. Gee, Zillafan, I never played Street Fighter. I don't know much about the game, to be honest. Played a little bit of Mortal Kombat in like the Sega Genesis days, but that's as far as it goes for me. And on the Nintendo, I had Double Dragon, but never Street Fighter. I love Andre's. Oh, headbutt. Oh, they did move camera shots there. Okay, so they definitely have. I've talked a few times tonight during the watch along that a few camera angles have looked new to me, like I haven't seen before. And that Andre headbutt, they pulled away to a wide shot because he does not take that headbutt to the post very good. And the on the floor the cameraman is the one that shot that usually shows on pay-per-view DVDs and stuff, or on the VHS, or in the WWE release stuff. But here on the Peacock version, that was a terrible looking backdrop. There's just some plywood underneath there because that's the riser, I guess they probably built to get that ring up. That's why there's wood there. He pulled back the mat to expose the plywood. All right, they're back in the ring now. Oh, there's Hogan ducking it. Here comes clothesline, and down he goes. I actually kind of would have liked to see a wider camera shot on that. But that was a big moment. Andre going down, it's like, holy shit, he hadn't been knocked down all match. We hadn't seen him knocked down in a long time. A couple of years since this guy's actually been on the ground. And Hogan knocked him off his feet. Hogan draws the energy from all of us. And this is the most iconic thing that's ever happened in the history of the business right here. This shot. Unreal. I mean, you'll never understand how big it was. Wow, one. And just like that, ref count a little quick. Hogan couldn't even hook the leg, but he won. He beat Andre the Giant in something that WWE made you as a kid believe wasn't possible. Look, Bobby Heenan's full-blown conniption fit on the outside of the ring. Hogan retains the title. There's those red camera streaks I've talked about before on old tapes. The only problem with guest ring announcers is you want Howard doing this, not Euchre. Let's get the official word. And he wins. I mean, looking back, you know, when you look at this as an adult, it's obvious, you know, what they were going to do. Of course, Hogan's going to beat Andre here, but it is such a different story when you're 9. And even as an adult, this whole match still holds up as something that's extremely epic. And nothing in wrestling had ever topped this. No company, no promotion had ever come close to any moment or card or main event or showdown between two epic forces. We've just never had that really since. I mean, Hogan and Andre is the pinnacle of that type of collision. I mean, think about how big Hogan and Warrior was 3 years later. It's as great as that was. It was not Hogan and Andre. Nothing they've ever done since has been as big as Hogan and Andre. I mean, it's absolutely crazy. The only thing that might have been able to come close to this in terms of making a moment is, you know, Hogan in 02 with The Rock. But if you were able to get Hogan against Austin, let's say in like 1998, that probably would have been ideal. That might have been able to bring so many people in. But how would you even accomplish that? But, you know, like I said, you know, without this, I was a pretty hardcore wrestling fan and had been one up until this point. So without WrestleMania 3, I probably would have remained a fan, but maybe not. I mean, this moment is, I couldn't imagine like my wrestling fan life without this one. Because it was so big, meaningful, and it made the WWE. They'll never top this moment, you know? They might top it financially and statistic-wise and from numbers perspective, but in terms of the magnitude of it, how big it felt, the ultimate collision there at a time when wrestling was at its peak, but still had some credibility to where, you know, people were probably in Vegas betting on this match and stuff. So there wasn't a million and one documentaries about how all this shit is a work. And they sold it well. It was executed. The build was perfect on TV. The match was about as good as it could have been for these two guys. And what made it was just the visual of that body slam. Had that body slam not looked as good, or maybe if Hogan got him up, but maybe it was more of like a Yokozuna body slam or something, that maybe it wouldn't have had that effect. But that visual of Hogan turning him can't be topped. Can't be topped. Very, 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 very big deal, this match. I mean, a lot of it, like when I see certain camera shots, camera angles, I get the flash bulbs, you know, of just being a kid, back living in my Waterford and Sterling Heights, Michigan houses. And how it felt to watch this at the time. What was going on in my little shithead brain. Eating ice cream bars, playing with action figures, chasing girls on the playground. Simpler times, man. Cool. And they're still there. Nobody's throwing shit at Hogan. But when you saw Andre and Heenan leave, they were being pelted. And they have, look at that. They have raised the cart. I sometimes forget they did that. So Hogan can get that final pose in. And two, going on in Hogan's mind too, you got to wonder what's going in his head. He's probably like, I just made fucking history. We did, really. And I echo Jesse, give Andre the Giant a lot of credit for doing that. It's not like it was that hard. I mean, Andre should get credit, but this idea that Hogan didn't know if Andre was going to do business or not, I don't know if I believe. I feel like it was pretty obvious what was going to be done here. And Andre, I'm sure, was compensated handsomely for it. It's not like Andre did some ultimate great favor here. He was the tiring, aging guy slowing down that still had a ton of, oh, wow, that body slam is just incredible. That imagine what beating like someone like him would do for not only Hogan, but the company. I mean, what would Andre say? No, I don't want to do the job. Like, he's Andre. Andre even knows in his head he's going to be dead in a few years. It's the greatest gift he could give. And it probably set Andre up for the rest of his life. I mean, he was already set for life money-wise, but it gave him one good, nice, final, humongous payday that I'm sure Vince was very generous. And he should be, because you compound daily what this match has done, you know, for wrestling. It's an amount that can never really be calculated properly. I like Jesse's shirt. I'm with Jesse. The Steamboat did steal it. Now I kind of have a change of heart now. 9-year-old Greg thought it was great. 45-year-old Greg thinks it's horse shit. Is Jesse wearing guy liner? Good for him. What's in his chin? What's going on? Jesse, what's happening? Why is it shiny? Hit it, Aretha. All right, so we're going to be closing with Aretha Franklin as we go through a nice still image montage of WrestleMania 3, which to this day holds up as a pretty amazing spectacle, because you just have to remember where you were at the time. Seeing big crowds now at WrestleManias is kind of the norm, but seeing shit like this for pro wrestling was mind-blowing, and I was the perfect age for it. And I remember it was a big source of pride for me as a wrestling fan, like later in life too, because as wrestling fans, we all deal with the stigma, you know, and so wrestling's fake, right? And all those dipshits. And they'll never get it. They'll never understand, you know, because that's how closed off and closed-minded they are. And they don't realize that, you know, what works in movies and TV and other forms of entertainment works here too. And you're missing out. And being a wrestling fan is like knowing a secret that no one else knows. And so like later in life, when I would always look at this show as like something like, look at what wrestling was able to do. And you're almost even prouder now because even though wrestling's got a fucked up underbelly, you know, we've sent guys to the UFC and became the biggest draw there. We've sent guys to Hollywood and been the biggest draw there. You know, and I don't know if any of that's possible without WrestleMania 3. So, hugely, hugely epic night in pro wrestling. Slick. In this match, Savage and Steamboat, the near falls, the drama, Animal Steel, blatantly interfering. All the heels got big moments. Danny Davis winning. Honky Tonk Man pinning Jake. And Hogan and Andre. So crazy. But so good. Yeah, there was probably a different song here played in some of the other releases, but Gorilla said it himself. It's going to be Aretha Franklin, so maybe this was for some of the Coliseums. I don't know. Crazy though. I remember back in the day, like sometimes they would close Saturday night's main events with like Phil Collins and Genesis songs and shit. I'm like, this is awesome. So I wish they could do that again, but not these days. It's got to be their own crap. Well, anyway, thanks for watching WrestleMania 3 with me. I was about to say we got to decide what to do next week, but I completely forgot that next week is Revolution. All this week, I thought Revolution was on Saturday, but it's not. It's a Sunday show. So we'll be up here for the podcast as usual, unless something crazy happens. Also, no planned live stream for Raw tomorrow. I got stuff to do, working on channel stuff. Also the Patreon stuff, Patreon watch-alongs, including this one, will be up on the Patreon page with the actual footage of the show. All tiers are welcome there. $1 a month will get you access to that, and I'll be posting this over there this week, along with a lot of other content. The YouTube store is now open and fully operational. It's ready to rock and roll. It's done. Construction is over. Still some more products coming, but in terms of the functionality of the store, it's up, it's working. You can buy shit now. Other than that, if you're just subscribing, watching, and liking, at the end of the day, that's all I really need from you guys. Thank you so much for being here. Appreciate you hanging out again. And we'll be back here in just a couple of days for our next video, although the new computer comes this week, so I'm kind of setting that up. So I think I'll be here for Dynamite, but if something crazy happens, I will let you know. But rest assured, I'm going to be working all week on channel stuff because changes are happening now. It's going to be awesome. You guys take care. Enjoy the rest of your night, and I'll talk to you real soon.